Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 39 of Powerbombshells. I'm Sam. That is Mel. We are just two broads talking about the wrestling that we like. And we saw a lot of wrestling that we like last night, I think.
Holy crap! Yeah, it actually way over my expectations. Good, I think
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say for me.
Yeah. I mean, AEW always delivers at pay-per-view time, so I wasn't really concerned about it. I know there's a lot of talk about, I mean, they were a little late, it seems like, getting I guess getting to the matches and stuff like ahead of the pay-per-view. They were just
Like getting the build going,
yeah, exactly.
basically.
They should have, yeah, and I totally get that. But I was like, I wasn't worried about how it would deliver because they always do.
Yeah, I felt this. I I wasn't hyped for wrestling this week. Like I felt like the go home shows were kind of lukewarm, and then they, if you're a numbers person, the numbers kind of bore that out. And I was like, I don't know. And it's like it's not that I didn't care about some of these matches. It was just I was like, I don't feel the hype that I usually feel for an AEW pay per view. And then I was like, oh, this is way better. Like, I mean, even the pre-to 0 hour,
Yeah.
Eddie, the Eddie Kingston match was so well worth it. I mean, we'll go through everything, but
Yeah.
I was like, it made me feel better because I was like, oh yeah, their pay-per-views are always good.
Right, right. Yeah, and see, I thought, yeah, the Wednesday go home show was just kind of a routine show. But I thought Rampage was really good. I thought it was one of their better rampages that they've had in a while. And I thought it set some things up, and we got another thing is we got obviously the debut of Jun Akiyama. We got the return of Takeshita. We also got the return of Mercedes Martinez, which was unexpected. I guess I should have expected it because on the media call the day before, Tony did say that she got cleared on Wednesday. So I just didn't expect to see her so fast. So I thought that was a nice surprise. But I enjoyed Rampage, and I was looking forward to
Rampage was pretty good.
yeah. So I was looking forward to 0 Hour just because like I wanted to see what they were going to do with Danhausen since they've been teasing that. And then of course after the main event of Rampage, I've never seen Akiyama before. But I'm familiar with him and things like that. And so I wanted after I even tweeted at the end of the show, I was like, I really hope that Eddie gets his one-on-one match with him. And then a few minutes later, I saw where people were live in the audience and they tweeted, Eddie talking and basically demanding the match from Tony. And it being granted, and so I was really excited about so that was another reason I was really looking forward to 0 Hour, and that match of course definitely delivered.
Same. I mean, you covered everything I felt about that entire situation because I actually I mean, I do actually have like an understanding of Japanese wrestling and what a big deal that is, and what
Yeah,
the end of
exactly.
an era that
Right.
like Nakayama is, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
kind
was like,
of wrestling.
even not being familiar with AJPW, which because obviously I'm more familiar with New Japan, like I
Right.
know somewhat familiar with stuff, and I knew how important that match was, and I knew that Akiyama is like the end of that, like it's just him now.
Yeah.
And so like and I knew how important that was, and then obviously just knowing that Eddie, that was huge for him. He's wanted to wrestle him since he was 18, and and just getting that moment was really cool, and it was for free on TV.
I know.
and on YouTube.
I know they gave that one away. I was like, and I understand why they didn't put it on the main card necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
I think, and they needed the ceremony, and I felt like they did it justice, and it was awesome. I mean, my group was kind of joking about. I mean, if he had idolized someone in WWE, he never would have made it to him. He'd never be wrestling in his 50s.
Yeah, exactly.
But Japan takes such good care of their wrestlers.
Yeah.
That Akiyama was like, yeah, let's go.
Right, exactly. And that's just incredible. And I'm so glad. And I was just watching, and then even before and I know we'll get more into the match, but even like the afterwards when he was like, he wanted to talk and he was just like, go buy the pay-per-view. Like he did his job.
Love
like
that.
he did his job match wise, and then he still sold it like verbally. It was just like, and I tweeted, I was like, they have to use that forever now to sell all pay-per-views, and then somebody clipped just that section where he was like about the pay-per-view. And I was like, if that doesn't get you to buy a pay-per-view, then I don't know what will.
No, seriously. And as someone who's worked backstage in not video, but I understand when he like quoted the exact amount of time that he had.
Yeah.
A big giant fuck you to the guys in the back, because that's coming from stage managers and production managers.
Right.
I loved it. I was like, you
great.
go, boy.
Oh my God, it was great because
good for Excalibur for just
I was like, commentary
lantern right on it. He's like, it doesn't matter. He told you everything we needed to tell you. I'm like, well done, Excalibur.
Yeah, and it was funny because when Eddie first took the microphone, he apologized to Excalibur, and I think it was Tony that said it's okay. He only needs 30 seconds anyway. Just that whole segment was perfect. It was, I loved how much commentary like popped for that moment.
Yeah.
He
got like the whole table. It was wonderful.
Yeah, he got him.
It was a wonderful, wonderful moment, and it was a really good way to sell a pay-per-view, and I felt like, wow, this is good momentum, and they actually did have good momentum. So I mean, it worked. Right. It was like, not that I didn't think it was going to be good. It's just that I was like, meh, this whole week. And I mean, some of that was personal, but also usually that like will pick me up more. And I was just like, and I had no earthly idea. I mean, to me, it was like, it seemed obvious who should win the belt to me from but as to whether or not that was going to be the outcome, I didn't know. So
yeah, right, yeah, definitely.
It was just one of those things where I was like, I don't know. But now I'm excited. Now I'm excited to see where things go. And
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I think even just going back to 0 Hour, like I thought because you typically they do 4 matches, and I was a little surprised that they only did 3, but then I realized it's because they were giving Eddie Kingston time to have his dream match, and I thought that was really cool of Tony to do that. So I mean, I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it a little bit. So like the opening match. So because if you follow me on Twitter, then you know that yesterday was my birthday. So I tweeted, I was like,
that's right. And I meant to say happy birthday. I wanted to make sure that you were cool with it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then again, I mean,
look at my lovely little card from my co-host. She was so nice to send me a card. Look, I love getting mail that's not bills.
Agreed. And I was raised by I love the greeting. I love the greeting card.
I do too.
And I was like, the lady that lived here before us gifted us, whether she meant to or not, a giant box. She must have been one of the, and I know this because like grandma was like this and stuff, like where she would buy the like really cheap on sale cards and says that was a cute card, and then put it in a box for later, and she'd use it later but never used it. And so so she actually gifted me, and so I love it because I just have a whole bag of birthday cards. And for me, I was like, what would make, like, what's pretty? What will make, you know what I mean? I was looking.
Yeah.
And it does. I have a good diverse, like, I narrowed it down to 3. And then I was like, this one's just, I think she'll like the pretty. I think she'll like the colors. And I liked it a lot. I thought it was really pretty. I was excited when I got it in the mail. Look who's 40.
That's my mom has said that so many times.
I'm sure.
But
I had to say it because, old people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of those now.
No, you're not.
No, I know. And but yeah, so I actually messaged Mel when my card came in on Thursday, and I was like, do I open it now or can I save it for my birthday? She was like, you can open it whenever. And I was like, well, if I was a good podcaster, I would open it on air and read it.
I mean, it's just a nice card. It's very personal. I felt like it's important because it's always nice feeling acknowledged. And
it is, and I appreciate that. And I really was happy about it. So I saved it for yesterday to open. And I actually got a card from a friend that I went to high school with who now lives in Washington.
Awesome.
And she sent she sent a card and it came the same day as yours. And I was like, well, I'm just going to save them both. I was like, it's 2 days. I can wait 2 days and open it. But I really appreciate it. It was very thoughtful and I loved it and was very excited to have it. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Very welcome. And I hope you it looks like you had a very happy
birthday. I did have a good birthday. I went to lunch with my mom and my sister and my cousin's girlfriend, who is practically family anyway. So we had a nice lunch, and then we went shopping, except for I was trying to find boots and did not find any. So birthday present still from my mom is still we're still trying to work that out.
Pending.
Yes, it is
pending. Or what would they on wait, let me be more digital about it. Loading.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's still loading.
So. It's just a circle spinning until you guys finish it.
Yes, it is. And then I think I'm hopefully going to go to dinner with my dad. I don't know if we're going to go tonight because he had to work yesterday, or if we're going to go in the next couple of days. So I get to spread it out. So that's always nice.
That's really cool. I'm really glad.
And then and of course we watched Full Gear, and then we were in our group text with my friends. So it was fun. And I was like, that's pretty much, because I was like, since I couldn't be there, I was like, of course I'm gonna watch it. And so and that was, so back to my point when I was gonna get into the 0 hour stuff, was I was like, of course they're gonna start off the show with QT Marshall on my birthday. They're like,
it's true, they did, didn't they?
They did. I was like,
oh God. I was like, well, at least they're getting it out of the way.
Yeah.
Kind of my feeling, because I was like, okay, well, they're getting it out of the way. And I could kind of see, I'm sitting here because I know how much you like hate this entire situation. I mean, we both hate QT and we both hate the factory, but because but it was just, I'm like,
yeah. I mean, I was excited because I was like, yes, I get to see best friends, Rocky, the mystery partner, even though they showed the mystery partner in the VHS. That setup for that match was perfect. When Renee's face when Chucky T handed her the videotape, and she
was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
And Trent said, I emailed it, just watch the screen. It's great. I loved it. So I was like, again, I don't know why the factory is the foil here for Danhausen. I mean, maybe he's just so fed up with QT like we are that it's turning him into evil. Or because I was watching Matt Hardy's podcast this week, and he called him Damaged Danhausen. And then JD saw my tweet.
Brokenhausen.
And JD saw my tweet, and he said Damaged Hausen. So that works too.
Close.
But yeah, so
it's not the first time a few of you have been on the same page, because I'm pretty sure that you and Kevin Ely said like the exact same thing. And I can't remember what it was, but it was like the exact same thing. And I had to tweet at him when I was listening to him.
Oh, I did see your tweet.
I tweeted about it. It's on my tweeter. If Twitter's still there, oh my God. But but it was one of those things where I was like, you almost verbatim. I'm like, you too. And something that happened on this show, and when we get to it, was something that both of you had also. Oh, it was the main event, I think. And both of you had almost said the exact same thing about what was going to happen. And I was like,
It's fantastic. We're all great minds.
Also, there was that was the beginning match, I was gonna say. But yeah, they got that out of the way. Danhausen looks like he's ready to wrestle though, and have a feud, maybe.
I'm here for it. I'm here for this version of Danhausen. And I also, and Nikki pointed out too, later on when they talked to Danhausen again, he was normal. Like the blood from the bloody paint he had was gone, and he was back to being the very nice, very evil Danhausen that we should all know.
I did notice that his makeup had changed a little bit because of when I was looking at potentially doing his face makeup for a Halloween special. And so now I'm forever, because I paid so much attention and watched tutorials of people doing his makeup. I will forever be aware of his makeup.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, so
Yeah.
I guess that's good.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked the aggressiveness. I like that he brought the teeth back, which, he did a little bit of that in ROH. And so I didn't see a lot of I haven't seen the Evil Danhausen as far as having the spike and things like that. Oh, and I thought it was perfect when they did after the match, when they did the pose and Danhausen standing with the spike in the air and Trent's looking at the spike and Orange is looking at him over his glasses like that. That whole thing was perfect. And I was just saying, I was like, man, I hope there's a BTE segment of them like talking about this version of Danhausen and trying to figure out like why he did that and Danhausen like not explaining anything and be like, what are you talking about? It's like, I really hope we get that
can
BTE
have
segment.
BTE again.
We should have it tomorrow, I'm assuming. Fingers crossed.
Oh my gosh, this week will be so wonderful. This was actually a kickoff. See, it just keeps giving.
Yes, it does.
Full
keep
Gear.
giving.
Full Gear just keeps giving.
It does.
I was very, very excited. I almost got mad at this match because I was like, Orange Cassidy has wrestled Will Ospreay and Katsuyori Shibata, and he's in this ridiculous match. And then I was like, this ridiculous match is awesome.
Yeah.
Shut up. Relax. Yeah. It's wrestling.
And that's the thing about Orange. He can do both. Orange is get you a man who can do both. He
was great.
He does the comedy bits so well, but then he does the Shibata matches and Will Ospreay matches with ease and Pac and all that stuff. I will say I'm not looking forward to him wrestling Jake Hager because Jake Hager doesn't have any business being near that title, but
but and then get it out of his system, maybe get him some more time. I mean, Jake Hager could turn what he's trying to do into something. I feel like he could, but there's a lot of that guy already, and it's so competitive.
It is.
So
right. So so that was fun, and they did get it out of the way. The second match was Starks and Cage. I wasn't super looking forward. I mean, just it's Ricky Starks, so I will always enjoy whatever Ricky Starks is doing. And I thought his match with Lance Archer actually on Rampage, like I enjoyed that a lot, and I like that they played up his speed. I like that they played up like he was in his street clothes, like he didn't have time to change. Before Lance Archer was coming at him and all that stuff. So like I enjoyed that. And so if Tony mentioned it on the media call that Ricky was not cleared the week before because that's when him and Lance Archer was supposed to happen.
Okay.
He said he did not want to forfeit and have Archer win that match by forfeiture. And so they moved it to Rampage. Then they moved that way. The winner of that match would go on to wrestle Brian Cage last night. And then they just moved the match to Dynamite. And he was like, he thought that was just the best thing for everybody involved. And so that's why it was delayed a week, which is kind of concern. I mean, I hope he looks okay with the two matches he did. He did 2 matches in 24 hours. So I hope that's a positive sign since he wasn't cleared the week before. So I thought the match was decent, but I wasn't like super into it. And I kind of figured, I mean, as soon as the brackets came out, like I knew I was like, it's going to come down between Ricky Starks and Ethan Page. Like that's where they're going with this. So I wasn't like,
and I
mean, it was fine. The match was fine. And Brian Cage is I always am surprised, even though I know how like agile he is. And he always surprises me and I'm like, oh yeah, he can do that. and then Ricky's just Ricky and he's incredible. And I love this stuff I do think that Ethan Page is going to win. I think that's where they're going with this because of the firm stuff. And we'll get to some other stuff at the end of this to kind of back up with this. But I mean, I think but I'm really looking forward to, because Ricky obviously is fantastic on the mic. And I think that Ethan is too. And so I'm really looking forward to the back and forth between them. And Ethan, like Ricky posed at him last night and Ethan laughed and was like, oh, really? But then the camera cut back to Ricky. So we didn't get to see the rest of what Ethan said to him. So I'm looking forward to, because I think the match it's going to be good regardless. And even if it's obvious who's probably going to win the match, I think it'll still be a good one. And I get the criticism of like, Ricky should be the guy, which I agree with, but I also think that Ethan Page is underrated. And with the story they've been telling with the firm, I think this is the correct way to go, especially at this time. And again, we'll get back to it with stuff what
Okay.
happened at the end of the show, and how it all circles back when we focus on like winter is coming and things like that. But yeah, so I thought it was a solid match. We knew what the outcome was going to be, and I think that 0 Hour was probably the place for that match just because of everything else that was going
Definitely.
on. It was, and that's not to say anything bad about them. And again,
No,
I
no.
hate and we've talked about it before. Like I think 0 Hour should not be looked down upon just because it's the pre-show, because we've been trained by the other company to think that the pre-show is bad, and that's not the case, because look at what the main event was.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes it feel like you should tune into it even if you're not like there to buy the thing.
Yeah.
And it's not a big commercial. It is, but it's a good commercial. It's like,
Yeah,
here's
right.
our actual product. I felt the same
Yeah.
way about the match, and it was exactly like the outcome that I figured it would be. It was just the right length. I felt
Yeah.
like they didn't
Right.
try and like drag it out. And
Yeah, I agree.
there's nothing worse than them like trying to drag out a match that we know full well is going to go the way it's going to go. And
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, whoa, wait. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I know what my logical next step is, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
So
Right.
the winner of the Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks match that will be on this coming Dynamite, is
Yeah,
that
will
right?
be on this coming
That
Dynamite,
was
and
the
then
person who will get the first shot at the
champion at Winter is
championship.
Coming.
Blah blah blah. At Winter is Coming.
Yes.
That's all what Sam said. Better than me.
I do want to say real quick, and I forgot to tweet this last night, but I told it to Nikki. I was like, it's really weird watching a Full Gear pay-per-view without Hangman Page, because the pay-per-view is named for him. And so, and it was for a bit they did on BTE. And so it's really weird that that just not having him there. Like I obviously I want him to be healthy. And I did watch parts of the Scrum last night, and Tony mentioned it on the media call, and he mentioned it last night. He did say that Hangman is doing well. He did not give a timetable either time on what his return is, but he did say he is doing well. So that's really positive news. So I hopefully we'll see Hangman back sooner rather than later, but only when he's healthy and ready to go.
You are the queen. You got the media call, you got the Scrum. I was like, well, this is one thing that's great about having Sam here, is that I know that she was actually, I mean, you were tweeting about it, I was reading about it because of like where I was. It was like perfect time. I was like, ooh, great, perfect. But it's like, oh, I can ask her questions if I have questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching, because last night I did watch, because the Boom Goes Dynamite did the live recap last night. And so I did watch Kevin and Paul's show, but I was watching them on the TV. And so I couldn't comment because I was watching on the TV. But I was tuning in. I was in and out of the Scrum on my phone, and so I was trying to multitask. And I was trying to listen to certain things, that way we could talk about it, because they did have Saraya on there. They did have some other people that I don't want to. I mean, I'm sure people who are watching this probably watched the show last night, so I'm trying not to spoil. We'll throw up the spoiler graphic that Brad likes.
I know that he might be jumping in later, but here it is.
Yeah, if you didn't watch last night, we're gonna spoil everything.
Yeah, let me make sure that we get this here, because I wanna make sure that you all understand that we are going to be spoiling the Full Gear pay-per-view from 2022 at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. You gotta say it right. It's Newark.
Yes, it is.
I thought it was pretty hilarious. There was some funny insider Philly versus New York versus the whole Northeast Coast.
Right, the whole tri-state area.
Well, it's amazing because it goes all the way up to where I'm from in New England, and it's hilarious because there's the big joke where I'm from, which is like there's no place or time that isn't appropriate for a Yankees chant. So. I mean,
as a Braves fan, we get in the World Series twice.
We get a lot of people agreeing with us. It is what it is, man.
I wonder how that could be. Yeah. So,
anyway, so
I don't know if we're having issues with the comment section. Nikki said that she's tried to comment, but they're not showing up over here, and she said I don't know where they went. So I don't know if anybody's trying to comment. I mean, we don't have, so I was like, I don't know if anybody's trying to comment too, but I know Nikki said that she is having some issues. She was like, she sent a text. She was like, are my comments going through? And I was like, no. So I don't know if anybody else who was on the live stream, if you're trying to
oh my gosh,
give us
yeah.
comments.
I see nothing.
We're not ignoring you if you're trying to talk to us. They're
Oh
just
no,
apparently
I
not
feel
coming through.
terrible. I was wondering why there were no comments.
I mean, maybe nobody wants to talk to us, but
Well, I mean,
it could be that.
Easily be the reason. Easily.
But, yeah, I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or just on Nikki's end.
Weird.
Oh yeah. Make sure you're logged in. I think you have to be logged in to leave comments.
Are you talking about Nikki or me?
In general, whoever is watching, if you're trying to comment, I think you have to be logged in.
You definitely have to be logged in to comment. They
Yes.
make you do all the
verify
stuff
and make sure.
Anyway,
yeah. So back to what we were talking
about.
So
we'll pop that up there again. As if you're, we'll mention it again. If you're trying to talk to us, we're not ignoring you. We just can't see it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for defeating the purpose. But anyway,
so back to the Full Gear main event, which was
Full Gear, not the main event.
Sorry, 0 Hour main
Hour.
event was. Oh, she's viewing through Twitter now. I don't think you can leave comments via Twitter though.
You might be able to though.
We'll find out. But so
thanks,
we
Nikki.
got. Thanks for trying, or at least for letting us know. Maybe comments are coming through, but yeah. So the main event of 0 Hour was a free one. That still crazy that we got it for free. We got the legendary Jun Akiyama versus Eddie Kingston in a dream match, and some people I saw Forbidden Door trending last night, and I believe that was why. And that match was. And I felt bad for Eddie that they said, I was like, why in the world would y'all send him to talk to Renee when he's clearly in this, like, he's trying to stay, in the zone, not think about what this match means to him. And they're like, hey, let's go talk to Renee.
Yeah. I mean, at least it was her and not someone else. Because, I mean, they are obviously close. I mean, he calls her sis. And I don't think that's just, that's definitely genuine.
Oh, absolutely.
So it just.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
it was like,
good that it was
Renee, I
get
what they were trying to do, but that was not the time and place.
Yeah, and then Renee is, Renee, she's, as you said, she's friends with Eddie, obviously, and so I think she knew how to handle him. She knew how to just give him the space he needed because she knows how much that match meant to him, and so she just you could see that he was just trying really hard not to get overwhelmed and emotional before he even had the match. And you could say he was trying to stay in that mindset of I have to go wrestle my hero, but I also have to beat his ass. I have to try to get the victory here. And so he was definitely walking a very thin line of that, which I thought he did a great job of. And it was just even Friday night when he came, because Eddie is always when he comes out for a match, he's always super dialed in and focused, but Friday night he was just on another level. You could just see that look in his eyes that he was just so.
I mean, I know everyone said it, but I'm gonna say it too. I'm just so happy for him.
Me too.
And the guy is so passionate for something. We're all so passionate for. He does such a great job, and then it's.
Well, and I think another thing was just I tweeted afterwards. I was like, Eddie deserves all of this. He deserves the dream match. He deserves the applause because he told the fans, he was like, no, don't thank me, thank you. And I was like, no. I was like, Eddie, you deserve all of this. You deserve all of these good things, and you deserve the support from the fans and the support from your boss who's given this to you. You deserve all of it. Don't. I hope he doesn't, because, he's talked about it before that sometimes he'll have good things happen to him. And then he kind of
imposter syndrome.
You're right. And that's what and I told that to Nikki last night. I was like, I hope that he really knows that he deserves this and accepts that he deserves it and accept that was a good thing.
Take your flowers and enjoy them.
Right.
And that
exactly.
comes from someone who has just as much trouble with it. So don't even. And I'm not even at that's just normal life.
Sure. Yeah.
He it. Yeah. This is one of those times. Please.
Yeah, I was like, I hope
Please.
and it was, you could just see, like, after the match was like, and he was so, like, he gave Akiyama literally everything he had. And I think Akiyama did the same for him. And I think Akiyama understood how much that match meant to Kingston. But also, he was like, well, then I'm going to give him everything. Like, I'm giving him the full experience. Like, I'm not going to, just because he's like a huge fan of mine, I'm not going to go easy on him. He was like,
No, I think it'd be. I
talk.
mean,
Like,
it'd
you
be
could see Eddie's
disrespectful.
neck, like how red
Oh
Eddie's
my
neck
God,
was
yeah.
from the chops. And then Eddie just gave it right back. And I love that match. That was probably, I don't know if it was my favorite match of the night. It was definitely my favorite moment of the night,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing that. And then after the match, I think one of my other favorites was when the match ended and Eddie just collapsed in tears, like just let it all come out. And it had been building and building and building, and he just, all of it, like, it was just a really, really cool moment. And I'm glad people got it for free, for people who weren't even going to tune into the pay-per-view, like that they can see that moment and see somebody like Eddie get the dream match that he wanted. And then, like, I mean, we saw Arch Cassidy get a dream match with Shibata. Like, well, you didn't, and obviously Shibata is the one who requested it, but I mean, it's really cool that we live in a time where dream matches like this can happen, and that wrestlers can go to their boss and be like, please let me have this. And they have a boss who will let them have this, because
Yes.
he is a wrestling fan himself, and he gets it, and he tries to make it happen, and he gives it, because he's not only it for, and I think obviously it's huge for the fans, but when a wrestler works in an environment like that where they know that they're going to be supported, and they can be like, can you make this match happen for me? And that's because I think that gives, and we saw it last night, that gives the fans even more, like, I think that match was even more special for the fans, because we all know what Eddie's been through and how much that meant to him. And it was just a really, really great moment. And then it set off, the timing was perfect, because the first two matches of Full Gear, like those three matches together, like if you book it, that whole set of matches were incredible. And I don't think I mean, there was good stuff all, throughout the night, but I think those three matches are probably what people are going to talk about, if from Full Gear. And when you look back at the matches, it's those three
Definitely.
things. And that's the good thing with 0 Hour. It is a pre-show, but people are going to look at that as, they're going to look at Akiyama and Kingston as part of the Full Gear card. And that's what people are, they're not going to be like, oh, remember when it was, I mean, they're going to talk about it as being a great match, not being a great match that happened to be on a pre-show.
Yep. And I like that, because that is changing our like wrestling brain culture, and hopefully they'll keep that up, because it was awesome. And also during all of that, they kind of had a trifecta, because they signed Takeshita.
Yeah.
And so Takeshita was all elite, and
yes.
AR Fox this week too.
I'm glad you remembered to bring that up, because I meant to bring that up.
Practically my bestie in a weird way. Like, I don't know the guy, I don't, but he wrestled at practically every show we ever saw at our venue before the plague. Like,
right,
we would stand next to the dude while other people are wrestling, because he would come out and watch people wrestle. And oh my gosh. Oh, and in AEW, I know it's competitive, but Takeshita, AR Fox, I was like, you guys, thank you.
Thank you. Exactly. Because AR Fox, and it was funny because I tweeted during his match, just sign AR Fox already. And before I went to bed, AR Fox liked the tweet, and then I found out the next morning that they had offered him a contract. And so that was really cool. And I saw AR. I went to a couple of Evolve shows, and AR Fox was on them. And I remember him just having, he had one of my favorite matches of the night. And Nikki and I were trying to remember last night. I think it was against Montez Ford. I think because Street Profits were there, but they both wrestled singles matches, because I'm pretty sure Docs wrestled JD Drake, and then Tez wrestled AR Fox, I believe.
I saw that where they had that that loop, because they used to make a loop, and Detroit was on it.
Yeah.
And I saw that loop with all those guys on there, because that's how the reason I saw Ethan Page, the times I've seen him have strictly been Evolve, or
that's how I saw him
when
too.
Evolve essentially like hosted Progress coming into town. So
and so they did Evolve.
He was They were doing the Page Brothers gimmick for a bit, where he was tagging with Ricky Shane Page there.
Oh, awesome!
So that was a interesting. I was like, I think I saw him pop up on Impact or something recently, and was just like, oh my god, I haven't seen that guy since I saw him in person. I think.
Yeah, he did. Ricky Shane Page did, because obviously was a GCW mainstay for a while, and then he's popped up in AEW a time or two as well, and then so that's really cool. Whoa, but yeah, so
deep.
Super happy for AR Fox, and to put him like. I was like, they could just make that. I love Top Flight together, obviously. And that was like, Darius is so, Dante is so good as a solo wrestler, but God, Top Flight is just a fantastic tag team. And Darius just didn't miss a beat. Like, he looked phenomenal in that match. And then they added AR Fox, and I was like, I know Top Flight is a great tag team, but they really could just be a trios. And like, they're so good. And somebody asked Tony on the media call about AR Fox, and he was like, being in Orlando when we film Dark and they do the studio shows, he was like, AR Fox came in a few times, he got to meet him and spend time with him and get to know him, and he was like, I really liked him. And so I knew that Darius was coming back, and was like, I think that he would be good with Top Flight, and I would like to see, basically he was like, I would like to see this match, and so he booked it. And that's essentially how that happened. And then
for me.
Yeah, and somebody asked, I guess, like, would he, because of AR Fox's experience, AR Fox has trained so many wrestlers. Austin Theory is trained with him.
Yep.
And he's trained countless other wrestlers that have worked in. So he's just has such a great mind for the business. And somebody asked him, would he be in a producer role? And he was like, maybe. He was like, I got to know him. He's really, he's like, I know that he knows a lot and he's trained a lot of people. And he was like, so yeah, I could potentially see, but he was like, just having him around is helpful. Even if he's not technically in that role, like, he can give that type of expertise and advice, especially, even Top Flight, because Top Flight is really young, and they've had Dante with Matt Sydal, which I think was really smart to pair him with a veteran like that, especially because of Matt Sydal's work. And obviously he is a cruiserweight, and he's phenomenal. And so I think it was really smart to have Dante underneath him and learning from him, and especially while Darius was gone and he was having to learn how to be a singles wrestler, basically. And so I think having somebody like AR Fox with them now, even if they don't turn into a trios, like, they've got him to like kind of guide them, and I think that's awesome. And they can learn so much, and they could be. I was like, and it's crazy to think that like they're only going to get better.
I know. I'm excited.
Mind blowing. And then, of course, Takeshita, and I was joking about, because I missed Takeshita by a week. I went to DPW last Saturday. He was not.
It'll happen.
He was not booked. Well, he is booked for next month, but it's on the same day as my family Christmas party. And it's at the same time, so unfortunately I will not get to see Takeshita.
Well, we all have to go to our Christmas parties.
My friend was like, I hope they're not going to do him like John Moxley and not let him wrestle in the indies. And I was like, I think Takeshita might be all right. Like, I think he might be able to still do some indie stuff. I really hope so, because then hopefully he'll come back to DPW and I'll get to see him, or AEW will just have to come back to Charlotte so that I can see him. Somebody just bring me Takeshita.
He's moving here. So,
I heard that.
That's huge.
Yeah, because
he was like, I'm moving here. I'm doing this. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, because when it was first announced, my friend was like, well, I wonder if he's moving here, if it's going to be kind of a thing where like he just travels back and forth, because obviously Riho and Shida, they travel back and forth between here and Japan, and they wrestle, and even Emmy does as well. And so we weren't sure if he was doing that, but it seems like he's making the commitment and moving here full time, which is huge for him. And he's another guy who is 27 years old and as good as he is already, and he's only gonna get better, which is insane to think about. And so AEW is very lucky. And I know I know you can make the argument, well, the roster is big and they don't have enough time, but when you have talent like that, you sign them if you can.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an idiot not to.
And you can use them on all different places. Like,
just hang just hang the belt on Takeshita. There's just
he at least the TNT championship.
Yeah, something
that he could pull off for sure.
Oh, easily. So yeah, I'm glad to see him there. But yeah. And so then so I guess we'll just move into the Full Gear card.
Full Gear card.
And so they started off real hot. They went right for the steel cage
I'm glad
match.
they did this first, though.
Me too.
I think this was the absolute right decision. I
Yes.
echo everyone who said that. I agree with all of you.
Yeah.
It was because like many other people, it's like I get it, but like I don't need the cage match, and it's kind of annoying.
Like,
it's hard.
I love cage matches, and I think probably for the story they've been telling, it probably was the correct way to go.
Yeah.
Just because they've done pretty much everything that you can do, and if the story like that, and they talked to Jungle Boy on the media scrum last night, and I don't know if they don't let these people shower or what. This man was in the first match of the card. He comes out and his face was still bloody. Like, he didn't wash it at all. I'm like, this man's been walking around for 4 hours with dried blood on his face. I was like, are they just trying to give off? And then Nikki was like, oh, maybe they just wanted to give off the look or whatever. Of like how he
keeping
like,
it up. He's
got dried blood all over his face. Yeah, but yeah, he said that he found out Friday that they were probably going to be first, and then it was confirmed Saturday. And he was like, I was kind of glad, that we went ahead and we were opening the show and that they trusted us with that. And he was like, I do kind of think this is the final chapter for now. And he said, I don't know how long Christian's going to be out. He was like, but basically he was like, I'm coming for him when he's healthy.
Right. Nice.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the match. I knew it would be, I think some of that was I think that was Luchasaurus's best match he's had in the company that we've seen so far.
Oh yeah.
I think he looked really great.
And he looked good.
Yeah, and I thought that and of course Jungle Boy was crazy, and then I got a destroyer, which I was super excited about.
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny when that destroyer, because it was a huge destroyer.
It was.
I was like, that was Sam's happy birthday destroyer.
It was. That's why I was like, give me all the.
You can ask Bob, because I literally said that's Sam's happy birthday destroyer.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I tweeted, I was like, give me all the destroyers for my birthday. I got 2 because I got one in the next match, but I was like, I'll take it.
I was like, that's it right there. That was it.
Yeah,
they were telling her they loved her. That was the destroyer that she needed.
It was, and it was at the perfect time, and it was a big one, like you said. It was really good.
No, it was a good match. And it let's try again. The show that's like, it started off good. It was like, boom, let's go, and they didn't really lose. I mean, I felt like they kept their momentum for a really long time.
I think so too. Yeah, I thought so.
I mean, they really started off great and really pushed at least the first several matches.
Yeah,
really well.
They did. I would agree with that. Yeah. And then Jungle Boy got, he was bloody pretty quickly, and then he did the spot on top of the cage. And it was funny because Garrett was doing the Fight Game Media tweets last night, and I saw him tweet, and it was like, I hope Jungle Boy doesn't do anything too crazy. And this man is like, let me climb on top of the cage and do an elbow drop. And yeah, they asked him, like, in the scrum, somebody asked him last night, like, what was going through his mind, and he was like, I just kind of climbed up there, and he was like, and then he said that, like, it was so big, and like it was like the crowd was really loud, and he said that where Luchasaurus was, like, he was wanting to land on his hip, and he was like, but he was like, if I went too far this way, I would have landed here, or I would land where I ended up landing. And he was like, I had a split second decision, and he was like, and I just went for it. And he was like, but I was happy with it. And he was like, it basically was just like, I thought it looked, or he was like, I thought it was cool. So
I mean, I was glad it was like something like an elbow drop, because when he started to climb up there, I was afraid he was going to do some crazy BS. And I was like, please don't die.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay,
your
that's
mom
good.
And your sister are in the front row already losing it. And his sister, like, one time they showed her, and I'm pretty sure she was standing in her chair. It's so great. And it was funny because he was talking about, like, how he started wrestling at 10 years old, and he said, I was practicing on my sister.
Oh, of course.
And so it just with all the way his sister reacts to him in his matches, like I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. And he said that
As
his
someone with a sibling, I completely understand
yeah.
who I'm somewhat close to. If you are someone that has siblings that you're something close, like somewhat close to, you completely understand that.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so he said that so they put him in classes and he was in a kids class, and then he said that they were at 10 years old, they were like, "We think you could go to the adult class." And what was even more mind-blowing, like he said, so Luchasaurus was in that adult class and that's where they met, but Miro was in that adult
Oh,
class.
wow.
Wait, what?
Oh, good. So he's only been trained by some guys that know a thing or two.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like,
That's
"This is
solid. I'm excited
insane."
for him because that's a big win because that kind of sends him off on now that they've given one to MJF, like it
Yes.
now becomes here we go. It's time. Like it's time for
Yes.
these young guys that were
Yes.
the guys that they picked up as their as their pillars.
Right.
So
Yep.
I mean, I think that to me, I mean, if they don't graduate Jack Perry, which actually someone made this point. I was on our Facebook for the Viking Media Facebook thread a bunch last night because I was watching along with that with the group and
right.
So, someone made the point that JR had been getting over Jungle Boy Jack Perry,
Right.
where he'd been saying Jack Perry a lot, and that it kind of was JR that very much started doing that.
Yeah.
And he does deserve credit for
and
that.
they asked him about that last night. He was asked, like, are you going to be like keep using Jungle Boy? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, he was saying that like he's Jack Perry. He said, but he was like, I don't basically not that he's outgrown the character, but he was like, but he did make the point that kids like Jungle Boy. And so it sounds like it will probably just stay maybe Jungle Boy Jack Perry for a while because of the kids who are fans of his. Like, so they don't take that away from the kids.
That is a really good point. I mean, Brian Alvarez, even a few years back, wrestled him and was like, I've never seen this many high school or teenage girls in a place in my entire life.
I mean, can you just look at him? I mean, he looks just like his dad. And that's what I thought. I always joke. I was like, if I was in that age group, then like I was like Jungle Boy would be my favorite. Like, yeah.
Totally.
Yep. And I was a huge and I was a fan of his dad. Like I was a huge fan of his
huge.
when I watched 90210, Dylan was my favorite. He always was my favorite. So like,
you like Bad Boys, do you, honey?
Maybe a little bit, but
I did my fair share of watching 90210. It's not like I'm totally out of the loop here. I watched a pretty good. I mean, I'm not the historian.
No, I'm not either. I mean, I did watch it,
but I did my fair share.
Yeah,
I got into I mean, I went all the way into the Melrose Places. I went there.
I did watch Melrose Place too.
I just like watching stuff. I don't know, but anyway.
But yeah, so it seems like they are going to kind of move him and it kind of seemed like that match last night was like, okay, this is the end of him being a tag team, and with Luchasaurus, this is the end of their story right now, even he said, and it seems like they're sending him into the next chapter. And I was going to bring this up at the end, but I guess since we're kind of hitting on it now, like I think he should be one of the first feuds for MJF. I think that was, I mean, and I do get the argument,
but
I do get the argument for Wardlow, and I think there is something there, obviously, with their history and in that situation. But I think because we've seen the match and I remember even when MJF and Jungle Boy were having their matches, I was like, this is one of those feuds. These are two that are always destined to fight. Like Randy Orton and John Cena are always destined to fight and things like that. Like these two are always come back to each other at some point. And I think and they're only going to get better, as they go. And Jungle Boy has improved so much in the last 3 years. And then obviously MJF is in his, he's improved and he's still doing what he's doing. And so I'm looking forward to whenever they get together, even if it's like next summer or Revolution or whenever they do it. I think I'm interested to see how they both do by themselves and to kind of get, because like they push Jungle Boy and then they kind of like reined him back. It feels like they reined him back in a little bit, and now it feels like he feels like he's in a prime position to finally be like where MJ, like you said, they're the pillars, and we've seen Darby doing his stuff with Sting, and things like that, and so I think, and obviously we've seen what MJF is doing, so I'm glad to see Jungle Boy kind of maybe get the training wheels off and move to the next thing. So I'm excited.
It would be a perfect time now. They've done all these things. He's ready. Like, let's go.
Right. Yeah.
They've set the table. So now they just got to run with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope it's not a one-off thing. Like, I hope it's something that I hope they put some time and invest in that. And I think that would be a really good feud for MJF. Especially because there is the question, because MJF is, I mean, obviously he's a heel, but he's a popular heel. I mean, like, it's like when Kenny Omega a few years ago, and then we've seen it with Naito and things like that.
I have friends that are strictly, they're like, heel Kenny's the best Kenny. I love
heel Kenny. Heel Kenny
is like
maybe, like, I love babyface Kenny, but heel Kenny is so much fun. I love heel Kenny.
Yeah, he really lets loose when he becomes heel Kenny.
Yeah, he just I love heel Kenny. I was like, I'll go on a whole other thing about that. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. So they're gonna have somebody like babyface Jack Perry against heel, like, that'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts to that. Like, are they still, especially because they're both the quote unquote homegrown talents as well. They're the pillars. It does seem like a very a very natural, one is babyface, one is heel type of thing, but people love MJF so much. Like, I don't see it as Jungle Boy getting booed, but I don't know. And so that's where we could also see, is Jungle Boy going to be a hindrance, like having that moniker, because MJF's going to use it against him.
Oh, of course.
he's gonna
an easy target. Why would you not swing?
Right, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how they react with each other, and I'm looking forward to that one very much.
Speaking of heel Kenny,
yes,
the unexpected introduction of the Kansas.
My friend called that. It was great because
when they filed for that copyright. Right. I had the song stuck in my. I was so mad at Dave and Brian because I was listening to Observer Radio and they were talking about, and I had read it in the Observer about that. And Kevin Ely actually let me know that they actually stopped following.
I saw that.
Stopped following through. And what I'm talking about is they had filed a copyright for Wayward Sons. And a lot of people were like, oh, are they getting, instead of the young bucks, they're going to be the grown up, they're the Wayward Sons or something grown up.
Right.
But,
and then they abandoned the trademark last week.
Right.
And so, but yeah, when that first came out, when the news came out, I sent it, and Doug, who, if you've watched it, so you may have seen the episode that Doug was on a few episodes ago, and he was like, do you think they're going to use Wayward Sons? And I was like, probably. I was like, it kind of seems like it. Like, that would be really cool if they did. And then they came out and everybody was expecting the Elite music, and they didn't get it. And what was funny is, so I saw after the show last night, it came up in my timeline, Kansas, the band, tweeted the eyes, or they tweeted, it was like the eyes emoji and a buck, like a deer, and then they just said at Young Bucks, and I think they used the Full Gear hashtag. But then I saw earlier, it was a tweet from earlier in the day, yesterday was the 46th anniversary of that song being released.
Oh dear God.
So I think that was probably a happy coincidence. I'm sure they didn't go look and be like, hey,
let's make
came out the same day that Full Gear happens to be. I mean, maybe they did.
Oh, we need to rebook the entire thing.
Right. Yeah. So
I do want to know how much have a significant Kansas anniversary.
Right.
Kansas
anniversary. So
it was awesome.
I thought it was really cool, and I liked the statement they made with it, and I'm interested. I'm sure it was a one-time thing, like Rolling Stones was. I would like to know how much Tony spent between those two songs. I mean, I'm sure.
So funny, we were talking about the same thing.
I'm sure Sympathy for the Devil was probably more expensive, but I'm sure Kansas was no.
How much does it cost to rent that?
Yeah, so I want to know.
I mean, he's not buying those ones, obviously, because there's no way you're giving that away.
Right. And then I was like, and then he
he's
already
renting
spent like
them.
who knows how much he spent to get Jane for Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, but
And
that must have been
and
pretty
they use
pricey.
and they use that all the time. And those other two were just probably one. I'm assuming that's going to be a one-time use for the Young Bucks from last night. Like I'm sure, or the Elite rather. I was like, I don't think that's the permanent thing. I mean, it could be,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. Especially when they
I
have
think
their.
it was part of the. I finally realized they were doing the silent movie screen style cards there that
Yeah.
apparently needed to be edited for content. Apparently there was some weird punctuation, but I don't know. That's for you language nerds out there. And but regardless, I was like, oh my gosh, of course. And then it hit, and I was like, this is great. So they came in. I mean, the song was like as over as they were, so that was
Yeah,
fun.
it was. And what I loved was they were singing it, like they were in the ring, and each one of them were singing it, which made it even better. And I'm gonna add this. Okay, apparently the comments are working because we have.
Hey, a comment. Hello.
I thought that too when Jericho came out. So if you're listening to this on the audio version, somebody pointed out was that they missed Jericho having him come out to the Masked Singer audio. Well, he actually did too, because there was the viral one of Shut Up and Dance. But then he came, and this past week he performed, and it was White Wedding from Billy Idol.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, and because I saw the clip, because I follow Ken Jeong on Twitter, and so it came up and it showed me that he posted like a little clip of it, and then it showed the clip. Like nobody could figure out that it was Jericho. I mean, obviously wrestling fans figured it out in like 3 seconds. So we were like, oh, we've heard this man sing for 3 years. We know. But then none of them could figure it out, and Ken Jeong thought it was Matthew McConaughey. Oh God, but it was great. But yes, they did. That was a missed opportunity from Tony Khan last night. I need it to happen. Maybe it'll happen on Dynamite.
Maybe. I mean, Jericho is one of those people that would bring up a random like meta thing sometime, anytime. Yeah. And
oh yeah, he's totally.
I mean, it was really interesting.
He's definitely gonna cut a promo and make a reference of just shut up and dance or something, especially because they're the sports entertainers. So I can see that happening.
I read Best in the World recently, and I got through it pretty quick. And one of the things he talked about was his experience with Dancing with the Stars. Yes. And so when I found out he was on Masked Singer, I was like, oh, I bet he said yes instantly this time.
100%. Yeah.
After him explaining his experience with that, where it was like he said no, and then he went, but then he went back, and Stacey Keebler like convinced him to do it, and all these other things. And I'm like, well, when the Masked Singer approached him, he probably went, yep, anytime, yep, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Let me look at my busy schedule and find a day that I can, pop on.
That
but yeah,
guy.
He definitely cleared a schedule for that for sure.
Gotta love. I mean, it was worth it, except for the part about me getting Shut Up and Dance stuck in my head perpetually.
Me too. And then it came on. Then I heard it on the radio the other day, and I was like, at least it's this version and not Jericho's version. But yeah, I was like, please don't be stuck in my head for a week again. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Terrible. Anyway. So
yeah. So, and I did see some tweets last night. They were like, "I'm so surprised the Elite are coming out early." I'm like, "Have you watched an AEW pay-per-view? The Young Bucks always go second."
Yeah.
It used to be that somebody, either SCU or somebody from SCU, always opened the pay-per-views. Yeah. Because even if you go all the way back to All In, that was always the first match, and then the Young Bucks are almost always the second match. And so I was like, I and I had even thought about it before. I was like, I wonder if they're going to be the second match. And yeah, I was like, of course. They're like, why are they doing it early? Because this is the Young Bucks. That's their spot. That's when they go. But I will say, I think JR made the comment like that he loves any combination of those 6 men, and I was like, same.
Yeah.
No,
it was great. It was exactly what you would expect from that match.
Yeah. I loved it.
It should have been what it was, and it exactly was, and it was so nice.
Kenny
looked comforting.
Fantastic.
Holy crap. He did some spots where I was like, I guess he's ready to wrestle.
Man's healthy. Which is insane.
I mean, good, bad, or indifferent, they've been like able to sit around and not, but those aren't the kind of people to sit around. So
right.
You know that
but it has benefited. I think it's benefited them, especially
healing.
that's what I'm saying. It's benefited them because they needed to, their bodies
Yo.
needed it. And all three looked great, but I thought Kenny looked phenomenal. And, but see, I disagree. I am all for a best of 7. I am here for it. I'm so excited about this, especially with the ending last night. I thought, I wasn't sure. Like, I mean, I think the obvious, we thought the Elite were going to win, get their titles back. And then the ring hammer, of course, played a part. And even last week, Pac told them, he was like, you basically, you do what you have to do. And that's okay. You're here. Welcome. You were at the show last night too, right? So glad you're here.
I can't believe you're here. Thank you for being here.
But yeah, so I was kind of surprised that Phoenix, but the thing with when they were like, they're like, he had no choice. Yes, he did. He didn't have to use it. And even Don Callis said the same thing. He said he had a choice. Excalibur, please quit making excuses for Phoenix.
It's amazing. It was good. It was even having Don Callis back was nice.
I don't mind Don.
And this is the section of the program. Oh, he's perfect.
We don't mind Don Callis. We don't mind the Don Callis on commentary. We mind it when him and JR get into it and they talk too much and and they bicker with each other like that. I can't stand.
But that's dumb and pointless and has no like bearing on what's going on. But like the Don Callis Kevin Kelly combination, the Don Callis being the heel manager / like ringside guy.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
And it's interesting to see how that's going to work now that Kenny is not the belt collector. So what Don Callis's purpose is and like what he'll be doing with them, and are they heels? Because I don't think that they are.
No. I don't know if they can be.
Don Callis will forever be a heel, so I guess that's just going to be, especially when he's tweeting with Lance Storm. He's Lance Storm's arch nemesis. I was like,
I love when the two of them go after it. That's some of my favorite Twitter content.
They're very entertaining.
They're wonderful. If you go follow Lance Storm and Don Callis so that you can watch them bicker in Canadian. It's amazing.
Canadian bickers in Canadian.
They're Canadian bicker. It's so cute.
It is. It's great. How was the show? I know that you're.
Oh yeah, Brad was at the show last night.
Let us know how you enjoyed it and what Kathy thought. I'm sure she was excited. She got to see some cool stuff last night.
The only good reason to go to Newark. This was where we got the FCM Punk chance here too.
Yes.
During this
match. Don Callis is great on commentary. Yes. Yeah, and he's always been great wherever he goes. He knows he's in his bag.
He knows his role. He's one of those guys.
And he's also even as a heel, he knows when to kind of dial it back or be quiet, whereas someone like Chris Jericho doesn't know how to be quiet. Actually, I will praise him. Friday night,
he's working on it.
Friday night, he did a really good job. He was not too loud. He wasn't talking over people. He was funny a few times. I was like, see, we can make it happen.
I think that if you are someone who can get through to Chris Jericho, the impression that I got, and this is again, you read people you don't know, but the impression that I get is that I feel like if you get to him on a level where he understands and just say to him, this is going on and you should do this, like he will take it seriously. He doesn't come off as someone who'd be like, you can't tell me what to do. Like if you had constructive criticism for him, I feel like he would take it.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah,
like,
and I think
legitimate.
Well, and I think it's probably the way you approach him too. Like
that's true of anybody. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
So
Brad says that the show was incredible. Kathy loved it, except for when her favorites lost. Like I feel it. I feel her. The Elite, Tony and Moxley. Otherwise, she loved it, especially when Sting fought by us and Moxley entered by us. Oh man, when Moxley enters by you, like it's insane. My sister, I've told this story before. But my sister and Doug were at Double or Nothing together at Daly's place, and I was in the media section, but I could see them from where they were at, and like Nikki talks about it still, and so does Doug about that moment, like where he kicks the door open and comes through, and just he has such a swagger about him, like he's just so like.
Cool. We were on the floor for Blood and Guts, so we were close enough.
Right. Yeah.
But
I
it's
was.
so funny because even I do, because you're just like, you can't help yourself. You just
Yeah. Like
like wanna.
he
He's one of those
commands a
guys.
room when
He's
he
that
walks in, but he's such, I don't know, he's just,
guy. Love that
I just
guy.
love John Moxley. He's so cool. He's
He's
just
not
the
going
best. I
anywhere.
love that guy. Hopefully he's getting a damn vacation now.
I know, right?
Please let this man have a vacation. Sure.
That was my first thought. So.
Yeah, mine too. I was like, does he get to go on vacation now? Does Renee get to? She just started. Or or does John Moxley have to go on vacation by himself?
Damn it! I'm stuck in Cleveland all alone.
He's gonna be.
No, I'm sorry, Cincinnati.
He's gonna be home with the kid.
I'm stuck in Ohio in the middle of the winter by myself. That's okay.
Like,
he'll be all right.
Let him go on vacation. Hopefully Renee gets to go with him. Somebody said that I can't remember where it was, but they said it was pointed out that he could take like a nice 10-day vacation to Cabo and only miss like a week, like a Dynamite or something. I was like, well, then maybe they'll let Renee miss a week. They'll let Alex Marvez and Lexi Nair fill in. Let them.
Mostly Lexi, but
yeah. When poor Lexi, they're so mean to her.
I know, but Alex Marvez is so meh at that.
I like Alex Marvez. I mean, he's not like my favorite.
He's too fine. I think it's for me. It's my football bias because I can't get. And he's very NFL-y, and
yeah, he is. Yeah, I can see that. I
don't know. It is what it is. It's such a minor detail. Like we're in a day and age where I'm nitpicking like the backstage interviewer. I think that we're doing pretty damn well.
Yeah.
So I gotta get to this next one because she came out as Chitara. Jade Cargill did.
Amazing. She looked amazing, and Nyla came out with I love the tribute to, I love the homage to Eddie anyway, but the fact that it was the Lia Cheat still, and that's why she went with it. And then Vicky's in the I'm Your Mommy shirt, and just and all of it was great. Yeah, but Jade looked incredible. I mean, she always does. She's always just steps up her game every single time. I'm still sad that she did not come out like Johnny Hungy.
There's still time. You know what? If we can get Captain Insano, we can get anything.
So excited about Captain Insano. There's a Captain Insano shirt I heard. I haven't looked at the email, but
I love listening to people trying to work that out. And the fact that when I saw it, I was like, Sam told me about this months ago, and I get it. And she's gonna be so happy.
I was, because I was like, oh, they finally did it.
That's what happens. That's literally how I react to things. I just start singing. Like,
yeah, I lost it. I was like, oh,
I was like listening to one of the other shows, and they're like, "What is it? Is this character from like The Water Boy or something?" And
yes,
I was like, "Thank you for tweeting." And we retweeted the episode where we talked about how Captain Insano could possibly be brought around.
Yeah, because because they had brought in, like, at the time that we recorded that episode, I think it was like way back episode of 21. It had come out that Paul White had said that him and Tony had talked about using Captain Insano somehow, bringing him in. And so we talked about possible scenarios and like how they could use it. Now, obviously, probably like a one-off. Well, I think now it might be more than a one-off.
It'll happen.
I think the way they did it. But so we talked about like how they could do like a one-off, and we were hoping that they would bring Adam Sandler in to be Bobby Boucher.
You never know. It always amazes me who you find out is a wrestling fan. It always amazes me. You never, ever know.
Yeah.
We haven't gone that far yet.
We will. I will bring up that comment. I'm not ignoring it. We'll bring it up when we get to that.
All right.
To that part. But yeah. So I enjoy the captain.
And I am fully expected, because I'm completely behind your theory that they're going to give Jade the year or the 50 or both, because I think the timing is right there. And
it's all right. Like it
was but it was a lot of fun match, and they actually like gave them a good match, and it kept the momentum didn't die.
I knew that they were gonna. I figured, I was like, they are gonna put a women's match after the Elite. I was like, I bet that's what they're gonna. Because I was like, there's 3. Yeah, because I was like, well, first when Jungle Boy happened, I was like, well, the cage match happened. I was like, well, who are they going to get to follow it? And I was like, oh, wait, second match, obviously, the Elite. Then I was like, they are going to put a women's match after this. I was like, I know that's what they're going to do.
It's a good thing it's those two. It was those two.
Yeah,
And
and it
not
told their
just because
story.
their charisma kind of
Yeah.
it kind of it can fall. I mean, no one wants to follow the Bucks usually. I mean,
No.
I wouldn't
No,
want
because they
to.
always, especially when they're in a match with the Lucha Brothers, where they have such great chemistry. Those are, and that's the Lucha Brothers will probably be the Young Bucks' greatest rivals. Like that's
Yeah.
gonna be. They're also a group that we were just talking about how Jungle Boy and MJF are always destined to wrestle each other. It seems like, and obviously we're getting a best of 7 series with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, but they are always destined, and they always put on their chemistry is
They
so
deliver every
amazing. Yeah, they
time.
deliver. Yeah, it's always fantastic. No matter how many times I see their matches, I'm always impressed. I'm never bored. So that's another reason I'm looking forward to the best of 7. And it's interesting because the last match happens in California.
Oh, is it at the San Francisco show?
No, I think it. I didn't think to put that.
That's or San.
I think it's in LA.
Okay.
I think it's in LA, but it's in California. So I thought that was really interesting that they did that. So the way that works out, but so back to Jade and Nyla. I thought it was a pretty solid match. They got 8, I think it was 8 minutes, which is about what I expected them to get. I thought it was solid. I do think Jade is definitely. I don't know who they're gonna give her for the next. she's 42-0. Wait, 42-0 or 43-0? No, I think she's 42-0, right? I believe that is correct. So she's creeping up on the 50 wins, like we talked about, and they're creeping up on where we're midway through November, so she's closing in on January 5th and getting her year mark, and that definitely seems like it. And then we talked about it last week that she's on the poster for Battle of the Belt, so it seems like that's very possible that
could be close to it.
That could be it. But now apparently Revolution is not in February next year. It is in March the 5th, is what Tony announced last night on the media call. So I mean on the scrum. So they've got a little bit of extra time.
Do they know where or?
I did see. Hang on, I'll look it up real quick. I saw it, but then I was in the middle of doing other things and forgot where. Hang on one second, and I'll tell you.
You can tell me.
Super professional right now.
No.
Let's see here. I should know, and I saw.
I probably should have known too. So.
It is. I didn't think there was going to be 98 million articles right here. I thought this was going to be the fastest way. There we go. Okay.
as the internet would do to you.
It is in San Francisco at the Chase Center on March the 5th.
So that's in Chicago, right?
No, San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yep.
Okay, so that is the San Francisco show. Got it.
March 5th. Yep. So.
Or that's another. Oh, that's interesting. They're doing Revolution in San Francisco. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. There you go, West Coast people. You're getting your everything now.
Yes.
Now you're getting it all.
They're finally getting around all of the pandemic.
We are not going to get Zack Sabre and freaking Danielson at the Tokyo Dome because you all are getting what you want. So I'm just
hope you're happy.
It's no, and honestly, it is long overdue for them to have gone out west because there's a lot of great.
And we got the announcement. They're finally going to London. Now they can hopefully stop asking on the media call when they're coming to England, because they ask that on every single damn call.
Smarter than trying to fill up Craven Cottage, which is
they have it. Craven Cottage is in London. They haven't named a venue. They have just said it's in London. Craven Cottage is in London.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm surprisingly nobody on the media call asked about Craven Cottage. I was very shocked because that question is literally.
I guess maybe people just assume since they own it, that's where they're going to do it.
Yeah.
He has a place in London, so that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. So next summer they're going to London. I think they're going to end up adding more shows. Like I don't think they're just going to be in London. Like I think they'll probably do a little. Yeah, I think they'll probably hit up like Manchester and stuff that.
They'd go to Dublin and they would
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it'll be a full thing where they should, because they're already going to be there. So I would say hit Dublin and Glasgow
sold out times 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have, I mean, there's a couple of venues they could do right in Dublin that would,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I have
gone.
a feeling they're gonna I think that's why they're being so slow on just, like, slowly releasing information because I think they're gonna announce a little, like a mini tour of some sort.
That'd be great. And it would be smart because you could hit up there's a lot of like on and off the continent. There's a lot of places that they would do well in.
Mhm.
And I mean, because we know that because we watch every week with those people and they're staying up until 1 and 2 and 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or getting up early for work.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one. The next one was the ROH Championship match.
This match, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch most of because I was doing birthday things.
That's okay.
Eating birthday cake.
So
I saw like the last probably 3 or 4 minutes of the match. Like I saw for the beginning, a little bit of the beginning, and then I saw like the last. Yeah, I guess I would say probably the last 3 or 4 minutes because it's when Sammy nearly won and then Jericho kicked out, and so it was like, and so I watched from there. So I definitely have to go back and rewatch it. This was a match that I wasn't super like excited. Like, not that I didn't think it would be good. I was just like, okay, well, I don't really like that they're doing a 4-way for this. I still don't know why Claudio doesn't have the championship when that. I was like, this man does cool shit all the time. Why can't you sell ROH with him? You're going to sell it with Jericho?
But now I'm questioning it. I mean, they really led you to believe that. I think they are breaking up and resetting a lot of clearly breaking up a lot of teams and factions and resetting things.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that
they're like definitely getting their restarts for January the 4th.
Because there were a couple times where you actually, I mean, at least for me, there were a couple times where I thought Sammy actually, I was like, whoa, are they actually going to do this?
I thought they were, especially because
about it.
Sammy made the comments like even before, like Jericho was like basically like, Sammy has my back and will ensure, basically was like, he's going to ensure I'm going to win. And Sammy looked at him like, what? I didn't agree to this. And then, we see, and then there was the comment from the Rampage promo where it seemed like maybe he could. So they definitely teased it. And I was hoping that was the route that they were going to take, I think. And again, if Sammy is a pillar, then I think that's somebody else who needs to kind of break.
Yep.
He needs to get away from the sports center. I mean, he's very good at the sports entertainer gimmick. I understand. And of course he's with Jericho, and they tried to pair everybody with a veteran. And because that's why Daniel Garcia is with them, even though he does not fit in with them at all. So like I get it, but if they're gonna if they're cutting Jungle Boy loose and letting him do some solo stuff, then I think Sammy needs to follow suit. And I guess maybe they're gonna, maybe they'll do Darby and, oh, cool, we got some spam.
Yes, spam.
We got some spam comments. Oh, 3 in a row.
Real.
Oh, we can block them.
Chinese robots. Yay. I'm kidding.
But yeah, so that was fun little. If you're gonna be catching this in the audio version, we just got some spam porn comments. We got 3 in a row. That was super distracting.
I feel like I should do a Sean Ross staff level Blue Chew read or something now.
Yeah. Is that our Blue Chew? If you come sponsor us, and we'll read.
I hope you don't get in trouble. No one's really no. So anyway, it was a good match. It was. Yeah. I think it did what it was supposed to do and what it needed to do. I think Sammy is definitely another. He just needs to be in the mix for the singles for the getting like a chance at the top, because he's really starting to get good. And
yeah, he's definitely somebody. I mean, he was already good when they brought him in. And it was the same thing with Jungle Boy. Like, he was good when they brought him in, but now he's got these 3 years under his belt. He's got Jericho. He's got Jericho's leadership, now. And I think just cutting him loose, I think, would be the smart thing to do. And I would also, Brad says that Sammy is so talented, but he has such a punchable face. He's a perfect heel with a moveset of a fan favorite. Yes, he has all of those things. I would agree.
I mean, there's no lies detected.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. No notes. Yeah, I really do. I know there's some backstage stuff with Sammy, and that hopefully will go, he'll get some maturity and kind of back away from some of that stuff. And even though certain people were baiting him too. But I do like Sammy. I think Sammy is a fantastic wrestler, and I think that he's somebody who could be he's somebody that could be really a really great champion for them. I mean, he was with the TNT championship, even though TNT championship kind of went off the rails once Cody left.
Yeah.
But if they can kind of get that back on track, and maybe they're going to do that with Samoa Joe. But yeah, so I would like to see Sammy, break away from them. He would be a really good champion. He would be interesting as an ROH champion, and I really just would like them to get the belt off Jericho.
Yeah, it felt fun.
I was like the belt off of it. And Nikki made the point. She was like, Sammy's gonna do all the work, and then Jericho he's gonna come in at the last minute, which he did.
Yep.
And he set Sammy up perfectly for that. Even though for a split second I thought they were actually going to do it and let Sammy have it, and then I see a blonde head at the end of the room. I was like, damn it. It was like they're going to do the obvious thing.
Damn them.
And also, I will say real quick while we're on this, we had the phenomenal Ian Riccaboni back on commentary for this. And
yeah, I really
Bobby
enjoy
Cruz,
that they do that.
And then they have Bobby Cruz as the ring announcer, which I always enjoy. It makes it feel special, and I'm glad that they're getting some exposure while they're trying to figure out the next steps for ROH. And I hope they bring in Caprice some more too, because Caprice is always fun. And I love Caprice and Ian Riccaboni together. So I'll be happy with so I guess when Final Battle it comes in a few weeks, we'll get their reunion, which is nice to see. But yeah, so that was I enjoyed, from what I saw of that match, I thought it was a really good match, but I'm hoping that's going to set up. Yeah, I noticed that too. Brad was talking about how they didn't have they didn't have Ty come out with Sammy last night, which I wonder if that's on purpose. If that's a thing. If they're trying to break Sammy away from, I don't know if they will leave Ty in JAS if Sammy leaves. I assume she would go with her husband, but it'll be interesting to see like what they do with Ty too, especially because they have Anna Jay there as well, and poor Anna Jay, she needs some help with her promos. She's doing her best, but they need to help her.
Time.
But yes, all right.
What's the next one?
I'm glad you have this list because I did not keep a
list. Well, I sort of like ran out of steam at one point, but we haven't gotten there yet. So I'm pretty sure the next match here is and Jericho did retain. Oh. And so we got Saraya and
yes,
Britt
that's
Baker.
Right. That's also I was saying. Well, I think it was Saraya versus Britt
this
here.
Was the Saraya versus Britt Baker. This was the we're gonna beat on her back and her neck, and we're gonna throw her around.
It's like a Danielson. When Danielson came back, and he's
to make sure you understand that she's cleared. She's cleared. She's wrestling. She can be dropped on her head if needs be, I guess. And
yeah,
I mean, it was all right. It was fine.
Yeah. I think it was fine for what it was.
Exactly what it. This was another match that it didn't overstay its welcome. It was what it was.
13.5 minutes. I thought they were going to get maybe 10, just because I was like, Saraya's going to push for longer, which is probably why they got 13.5 minutes.
Probably why.
But I was like, she hasn't wrestled in 5 years. That's going to be a lot on her, mentally, emotionally, physically. Like 10 minutes is a good, solid time for them. And so they got a little bit longer. And like, I was watching the time. I was like, oh, we're creepy. I was like, okay, we're at 9 minutes. And then I was like, but I can tell what was happening. I was like, all right, I think they're going to go past 10. And then it kept going and it kept going. And I was like, they got the 13.5 minutes in. And I think you're right. It didn't overstay its welcome. It was what it was. It wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. I think, Saraya obviously has a long ways to go, but she hasn't been in a ring for 5 years. She did.
Right,
I was listening.
Exactly.
I did. That was part of the reason I wanted to tune into the Scrum last night, because I wanted to hear what she had to say about it. And she was like, and she said that she has been, once she said before she got cleared, she was doing some light training. And then once she got the full clear, she had to go back to the UK a few weeks ago because her uncle passed away. And while she was in the UK, she said she did train with her family some. And she said that she's always enjoys training with them. And then she came back and she said, I think she was training at the Santino Brothers Academy, I believe is where she said she was doing some training. She said that like she went full force. Like once she was cleared, like she said she canceled an autograph signing because she wanted to practice. And she said it was that important to her that she you know, she was like, I was 100% focused on doing, you know, getting back in the ring. And she was like, I'm gonna break character a little bit. And she's like, and she was talking about how great Britt has been with her. And she even did, we talked about this last week, how she did it, you know, on the interview with Renee, where she praised Britt a lot. And they did bring up the fact, like somebody brought up the fact, like, well, you know, she ended up Britt ended up cutting the babyface promo and stuff like that. And it kind of ended up being like where she was more of the baby face and you were the heel. And she said that they kind of just ended up going at it with, you cheer for who you want to cheer for. You either cheer for the homegrown talent or you cheer for the woman who is having her first match back in 5 years.
Right.
And she was like, she was like, it was a really simple story. And she was like, you just basically you cheer for who you want to cheer for. And Brad says Kathy had never seen Saraya before and was instantly drawn to her. She was going nuts for her, and that's awesome. I'm really glad that Saraya is getting that chance again, because, you know, we didn't think that would ever happen again.
You know what? You walk off the couch after 5 years of not doing anything and go out and play high school football again or something like that. You'll have you'll remember how to do it, but your body, and plus she has a new situation because her back doesn't work the same way it did before it was constructed.
Yeah.
So she has a new body she has to learn how to work with.
Right. She has to learn all kinds of things. And then she has to unlearn WWE. And that's what we've talked about with her promos before. Like, she has to unlearn all of that. Like, she's basically has to deprogram herself.
She can be herself.
Yeah, and she said that was one of the things she said last night.
She's gonna have to remember, like, she's gonna have to remember how.
Yeah, and she actually mentioned that last night. Somebody was asking, they were saying that you're not Paige anymore. You are now Saraya. And you get to, and she said, that was one of the things that drew her, was because she said, I finally get to be myself.
Right.
She was like, I'm not a product. I get to be me. And she was like, of course, I'm going to add some character stuff in eventually. Sure. She was like, but right now I get to be authentic. I get to be myself. I get to be Saraya. I get to introduce myself. And she said that was one of the things she was worried about when she first came out, because the name Saraya popped up, you know, obviously. And she was like, people don't know Saraya. People know Paige. And she was like, and so to get that reaction to Saraya, she said that was huge for her, because she didn't know how people would react, because she is now somebody completely different, because she's herself now. And so it's really interesting. She didn't say anything about like when she'll be cleared, or not be cleared, but how often she'll be able to wrestle, because she mentioned before that they want her to take it slow.
Yeah,
she's not going to be out here having matches every week,
every day. She's not going to be on Dynamite Rampage.
Right. She's going to be, so she'll be doing probably some backstage stuff and like, so that type of thing. So it'll be interesting to see. And I kind of agree with the fact, like I get the feel good story of having Saraya win that match, but I also I kind of like the other idea of Britt, the homegrown wrestler, beats the known name who comes from another company type of thing, especially after she said all of those things about her. And she was like, you know, I wrestled here and here and here, and what have you done? When Britt has basically wore this division on her back for 3 years. Britt has done so much.
I mean, for me, as someone who was like, how am I ever going to like this woman? To, my gosh, this woman is like, sometimes I get annoyed because it's like, I feel like she's on my TV too much. But the bottom line is, like, last night, I think proved it more than it ever has, is that she is the face of the division, though. And you've got to put the face out there. And she needs to do stuff.
Yeah.
And people look up to her. And she is like, I mean, that's a pretty good role model. A lady who like does all that stuff, worked really hard, turned herself into something like that we could actually enjoy as a wrestler, and also continues to like keep her stuff going and like her dentistry and I mean, we could do worse.
That's true. That is true.
And also what I was noticing, so this is something like I actually made me a little sad, because at the time I wish that more people had stayed in their seats for Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But when Britt is out there, people stay in their seats. And I wasn't there, so I don't know if people did the thing where they go to the bathroom during the women's match. But that still happens. I don't like that. But Britt Britt seems to be keeping people chanting and in their seats and booing. And I mean, it was loud in there still.
Yeah.
When Saraya and Britt were, so people were still engaged, and whether we like it or not, that's not always the case, even at pay-per-views.
No, I agree.
So I really, I mean,
I thought the match served its purpose. I thought it did what it was supposed to do. It cleared, and Saraya now has that match behind her, and she can focus on whatever comes next. And we'll get to some more stuff with Britt, and when we go to the next women's match. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Brad says that most people got up after the Bucks match. Well, when you see those 3 matches in a row, when
that
you go
was
from
tough.
you go from Eddie, Kingston, and Akiyama all the way through. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Like I said earlier, I would not want to follow the Bucks no matter who I am, which wrestler I am.
Right. Oh, Brad says that he didn't notice a lot leaving during the women's matches. That's always a positive.
That's excellent.
That's always a positive. Yeah, because I saw some people, they were just like, I think the biggest thing for me with this match was that it was a non-title match that was getting a pay-per-view spot. And when the women's division needs more of that. And even I was listening to Matt Hardy's podcast this week, and he and John Alba were talking about that. And John Alba was saying, that's one of the things is like, I think the women need to have non-title matches be important and compelling stories. And Matt agreed, and he was talking about how great their promos were, and he was like, people are buying tickets because of that match, because they want to see Saraya's first match back. They want to see her wrestle the homegrown talent. Like, so he was like, it is something, and he agreed that he was like, I hope that AEW does more of that. So that was nice to see. And also I want to go back to Eddie Kingston real quick, shouting out the women.
Eddie is like, God bless that guy for always having the women's backs. I mean, that's the right way to talk about the women's wrestling division on Twitter. QT, if you're wondering. Follow Eddie's example. Eddie sets the right example. Those are the kinds of compassionate and supportive tweets that you need to be. That's how you should be talking.
Yeah. And this man just had his dream match, and he's like, go watch Jamie. Make sure you stay for this women's match. Like, I thought that was a really cool moment. And I know there's obviously you can say a lot of things about CM Punk, but even in his first night back, he put over Britt Baker, which he was huge, and he didn't have to do that. So it's nice to see the men stepping up and being like, watch our women. They're good. Pay them attention. So it's nice to have, especially when it's wrestlers like that who are big stars who don't have to say anything, and their words carry a lot of weight. And so I thought that was really cool of Eddie to do that last night. I thought I just really appreciated that coming from him last night.
So our next one was the Wardlow match.
The big meaty men slapping meat. I posted that meme that I've had saved forever of Eddie and it. I mean,
every time I see a match like this, I think of you and that.
That. Listen, I love flippy shit. I love destroyers.
I know you do.
God, but I also enjoy big meaty men.
And you know what? This was in fairness, like, I'm glad that they brought Hobbs back into the mix.
Me too. Hobbs is so good.
And it was actually a pretty compelling match. Storytelling and the stuff with Joe and
they're all strong and powerful men and just out there. And then Wardlow picking up Hobbs and like giving him the Powerbomb Symphony like 4 times. I was like, this is insane. Like, this match doesn't have to be anything else. And it was, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really solid match. I was kind of, when Joe turned on Wardlow, like, I wasn't sure how they were going to handle Hobbs, especially. And then also because we have Final Battle coming up, like, I wasn't sure if they were going to do like Wardlow and Joe last night and then save Hobbs and Joe for Final Battle. And then we got the 3-way. It'll be interesting to see. So at Final Battle, if they'll just do a rematch of Samoa Joe and Wardlow, but Wardlow was not pinned to lose his title. And so that adds another. So I was like, do we get another 3-way at Final Battle and we get a rematch this time? Like, of this. And so that'll be really interesting. I don't have, like, I really I love Wardlow, and I do think that I do think he lost some momentum a little bit by taking him off TV right at the beginning. But on the other hand, every time Wardlow is in the ring, fans lose their minds. Like
Yeah.
they so like I get both sides of it. Like I get the fact that they did kind of cool off on him a little bit with his booking, but then the fans love him. Like they eat up everything he does.
I guess you have to walk a fine line. You can't keep him off TV for too long, which you know, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
think I do think it hindered him, but I also think that like the fans are just going to cheer for Wardlow no matter what.
I kind of think so
mean,
too right now. I think they want to love him right now,
yeah,
and
they
that's
do.
okay. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
No, there
Which
isn't.
is why, I mean, the only thing I would say is like lean into that unless you don't like money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't want to print money, then
If you don't like money, it's fine. I'm
that's fine.
weirdo.
I am here for 2 belts Samoa Joe. I love that image of him with the title on each shoulder. Like it just felt right.
Like
and
they're
it
just
looked
like pauldrons and stuff.
Yeah,
He's
he
so
does.
giant. He's just wearing his belts as
Yeah, like
armor.
right.
Hi.
He looked so cool. And then he tweeted last night that he was the king of television.
Well,
Which, good.
Okay.
I love Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe deserves all of this, and so I'm happy for him.
I can live in a world where Samoa Joe is the king of television.
I want to live in that world.
I'm good with that. That's
yeah. So I'm interested to see what they do at Final Battle and where this goes and how because it seems like they really are trying to, especially with Hobbs and Ricky being, their whole thing, and they're kind of the same thing. They've cut them loose and they're letting them kind of be on their own some, and so I'm glad to see Hobbs getting that. So because it's interesting because Hobbs it's always funny because Hobbs started out as a baby face and was supposed to be with Moxley, and then and I believe that was when Moxley left to go to rehab, and so they turned Hobbs heel and it worked. And it's been probably the best thing that they could have done for Hobbs, I think. And so I'm really interested in seeing. I like all 3 guys, and so I'm interested to see. Yeah, I mean, this is a match that maybe could have been on Dynamite, but it served its purpose here, especially with Samoa Joe getting 2 titles and Final Battle coming up in 3 weeks.
They kind of have to. They had to push ROH some on this pay-per-view just because they have nowhere else to do it.
Right. And I know a lot of people complain about how ROH is booked, but I don't have a problem with it because I like a lot of the ROH people. And so I want to see them. And I'm glad that Mercedes is back. And I hope that means Mercedes gets to defend her title on TV and not on YouTube.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Which is where she was defending it before, even though we know we can't have 2 women's title matches on the same show. And so if Mercedes is defending her title, then that means another women's title will not be on TV because we don't know how it's not allowed. It's not allowed to have 2 women's matches on Dynamite.
It makes the card too heavy.
Certainly can't have it on an hour Rampage show. We can't have women book in the show with their titles. What the hell? What kind of nonsense is that?
And this is where we get the announcement that Mr. Jericho called out Mr. Stone Pitbull and is gonna bring the noise.
Beats his ass.
I
murder him.
Ishii will destroy you. I don't know if he'll win a belt.
Put the ROH title on Ishii, you coward.
Ishii's like one of these people who is amazing and always delivers, and he always puts on these incredible matches, but he's never going to win the IWGP championship.
Put the ROH title on him.
So it's like he could be the ROH champion.
They put it on Suzuki for 5 minutes. It was not that title; it was the TV title. But
he's amazing, but I'm excited to see him wrestle Jericho because I think that he's going to beat the ever living crap out of him.
Brad, I mean, I don't like Jake Hager, so they are making him slightly entertaining, and I don't want to.
I'm with you. I'm a little bit. I know, but I'm kind of with Brad on this. It's annoying, but it is kind of entertaining. And
I mean, it definitely fits in with the sports entertaining. Yeah. I was like, when he asked Orange, what's in the bag? Have you not been watching the product, sir?
See this? Yeah. You said you wanted a shot at this. And then the fact that when you walked away and said, I love that hat, I'm like, Still, no one has printed up a hat that says I love this.
As far as we know, but maybe it's coming. Maybe they're gonna. Maybe now after that, it's coming.
come on, even Orange Pack, like he pointed
Yeah.
it out. You guys, this is screaming sell me.
It is.
Print a purple bucket hat that says I love this hat, and then Jake Hager, I almost called him Jack Swagger. Jake Hager's that would have been weird. Anyway, let's moving on. So Darby Allin and Sting and Double J and Jay Lethal was our next match.
Yeah, this was the match I did not care about. I only cared about Sting.
I'm glad.
Like, I'm here for it because I was like, Sting's gonna do something crazy. Please don't die on my birthday. I do not want that. I mean, I don't want you to die ever.
They wanted this match. I think that this was something they were looking for.
Yeah.
Maybe Jeff Jarrett, this is like, okay, great, it's cool. He's on the pay-per-view. I feel bad for Jay Lethal because he's a pretty good wrestler and you kind of getting like caught up in the weird mess that this is, but whatever.
Did he get injured last night?
I don't know.
I saw some people were wondering, like, after that one spot.
There was a knee. I think there was a point where his knee looked like it buckled.
Yeah.
And so that's not good if that's the case.
No. Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to this match. I used this match to post on Instagram about my birthday.
I actually,
my mom was like, "Are you gonna post pictures?" I'm like, "I'm trying to watch a wrestling pay-per-view. Can you not bother me right now about that?" So I was like, fine, I'll use this match. I thought they were going to do that match earlier. So I was like, well, I can use this bathroom. For me, that match would have been like a bathroom match. Like I wasn't.
This is where I felt like the pay-per-view started to lose its momentum.
This was a Dynamite match.
It was so good. And it was so like, I was like awake and paying attention and not really on my phone at all. And only just like in between, and then it started to kind of like slow down here. I think that the Tony Storm match and Jamie Hayter match that came after it,
they should have reversed those. I think.
Because I think that the women, fortunately, like they did seem to get a really good reaction from the crowd, and people did seem happy.
Yeah. So Brad said,
I know, right?
Yeah, that he never thought his almost 11-year-old daughter would be cheering for Sting in 2022. That's so surreal since I was cheering for him. Oh, he was 11 cheering for him in WCW, which that's one of the really cool things about wrestling and what we're seeing in AEW. It goes back to
what we're able to do now.
Yeah, we get these dream matches and we get Sting.
We get Sting
and we got Tony.
We got one of the 5 pillars of heaven. The end of the King's Road showed up on a North American pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah. And we get it. We're getting Sting.
And I'm glad your 11-year-old enjoyed Sting because that's really exciting.
Sting is cool, and he's always been cool.
I mean, it was a good match for what it was. It just was not like something that I needed.
Yeah, I checked out.
I was never like when they announced this one, I was like, I know they're gonna put it on the main card because it's Darby Allin and Sting and all of those things.
Right.
But I don't know.
That almost was. I mean, I would say it's more of a Dynamite match, but that's more of a 0-hour match. And I don't. And again,
that's what I'm saying. It's like that would have been better on 0 hour, but I knew they weren't going to put it on 0 hour because you don't put Darby Allin and Sting, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
so I feel like Jeff Jarrett and kind of got like what a funny word to say, but grandfathered onto the pay-per-view.
Yeah, he did.
Because they needed to, and I mean, it's cool. They got to resolve their issues from
there was some TNA chants during the match too, so they got
it was fine. I mean, probably my least
for what it was from what I only paid it, like I said, I only paid attention to parts of it. So
probably my least favorite like thing on the show, like the least paid attention to. Unfortunately, I mean, and again, I love Sting and I love what Sting does, and always happy to see Sting living his best life, but
same.
This just wasn't. Because then we get the Jamie. So after that was the Jamie Hayter and the Tony Storm match, which I thought was pretty good.
I really enjoyed this match. It's the match that a lot of people have been waiting for. These are 2 women they thought like when AEW signed them, like these are the women that you build your division around. Like that's who you bring in that caliber of women.
People were losing their mind for Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, which is why it goes back to what I said back when Tony originally won the interim title, and I said that was the wrong decision. It should have been Jamie. And I
They were
love Toni Storm.
booing. They were booing the near falls that Toni Storm was
Which is
having.
insane. And Toni is great. Like, I love Toni
I
Storm.
love Toni too. It's
And I
fine,
do think
but
she should be, and that's why I said then, like, I think she should be champion. I think she should be the face of the division at some point, but that was not the right time. It should have been Jamie, and they proved it they
Yep.
proved it in the week since, but they proved it last night that Jamie should have been she should have been the interim women's champion. She should have won the one to win at All Out. And I still stand by that. and it just proved me right last night.
Watching Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker fight it out for that belt for who is actually the best, because I mean, I think we can all agree that having her have that interim title, Britt's gonna think that she can tell her what to do, and that's probably not what's gonna happen.
That's my issue with this is it's gonna put Britt back in the title picture, and I don't want her in the title picture.
But I don't necessarily think she's going to win it.
No, I don't necessarily think she's gonna win it, but I think she's gonna she's just gonna be in the picture, and she's like, we've talked about it before that you've got to be careful and not book her like Charlotte Flair.
Yeah,
I have to be, and she was kind of always around. She was after she lost it to Thunder Rosa, she was kind of always there. When Toni won it, she was kind of always in the background, and they gave her something to do with Saraya, and I knew, and I thought this too. I knew when they put Saraya and Britt so early, I was like, it's because she's gonna come mess in Jamie's match. And so I wasn't sure if she was gonna cost Jamie the title again, and then Jamie was finally gonna turn on her, or if it was going to be what we saw last night.
I think this is better because it builds an automatic. You have an automatic feud between Britt and Jamie,
probably going to happen
because the argument is that the only reason that you actually won is because I helped you, and now they have
the interim champion. And that's going to be the other thing. You're the interim champion. I was the women's champion. There was no interim tag on when I was champion, so I'm better than you. Like, I was a real champion and you're not, like that type of thing. And so, I definitely see this being the Revolution match. I think that's where this is going.
For me, I hope that they have a good feud and they duke it out and they can do really good, because there's potential to really put Jamie Hayter over as the champion. At the end of that,
right? And it seems and they could also do the babyface turn for Jamie here too,
and let her so that it's not all dependent on Britt.
Yeah,
so that we have another person that we can and
Jamie is somebody who can, and I think Jamie is somebody who can. Jamie is somebody who can do that.
She seems super. I mean, she was ready to go last night. Her green gear looked great. She was people were going nuts for her. I mean, in lieu of Riho or somebody that's that big, I feel like people like her and
they do.
Let her do her thing.
She was. I listened to her on the Scrum as well last night. She was after Saraya, and she was just she said that she felt validated by having the title, and she was just and she talked about because somebody asked, because on the media call this week, they did ask Toni about the interim tag and how are they thinking about taking that off, because Thunder Rosa, she's I believe she said on her blog that she's just now where she's able to jog. It sounds like it's going to be a 2023 return for her. We don't know when in 2023, but she's not coming back this year. That's absolutely seems like that's the case. And so Toni said it is a case-by-case basis. He said he did want to give Thunder Rosa the opportunity to come back and win her title, but they also had no idea that she was still going to be out at this point. And he said it again last night, that it is case-by-case basis. They are looking into it to figure out, I guess, how they're going to handle it, which was kind of interesting, because I was like, that kind of sucks that if they take the interim away and make Jamie the linear champion, and Toni Storm was the interim, that was her reign. I mean, her reign obviously still counts, but she has the interim title associated with it, almost like a little asterisk.
Would it be better if Thunder Rosa vacated her title, Jamie Hayter is holding the current interim, and Britt they have to duke it out for the and then unify the belts.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen.
Because you could do it. I mean, that
yeah, they could.
if you want to give the women a long-term story, that's a pretty like easy.
We don't do long-term storytelling for women.
But I mean, that's
other
an
than
easy
Jade
one. That's
in her year title.
That's
but
like
yeah,
that,
no, I agree. I
that
think
seems like a no-brainer that you could do the like.
Yeah.
I vacate the title, and there's a fight for the other one, and now we have to unify the belts. And unifying the belts means Jamie and Britt have to face each other to be the ultimate.
Which could happen, and that could happen at Revolution.
That would be a really fun. And I mean, if they did that right, I'm all about that.
Yeah, maybe they could talk to somebody like Maria, who they have, who can help them figure out the creative with that. Wow, maybe they could do something like that.
Maybe. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but they did. Somebody did ask Jamie about wrestling Britt, and she said that she hasn't wrestled Britt since 2019. They wrestled in, I think she said it was Pro Wrestling Eve. In the UK, she said they met one time and wrestled. They had a fun match. They became friends afterwards. She was like, she went back to the US. I went to Japan. We stayed in touch. We became friends. And she was like, and I think when you wrestle somebody that you are friends with or care about and have chemistry, like an emotional attachment to, she's like, you have better matches versus wrestling somebody that you don't know or have no emotional connection to, which obviously we've seen that play out many times. And so it sounds like she basically looked at Tony and was like, can you book that? Can you let us wrestle? And I'm sure Tony's like, that is already the plan. But yeah, it was good. But yeah, so I'm happy for
good. There's some stronger personalities this women's division finally. Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate the fact that Saraya takes the extra time because that'll start a trend. Yep. Other women will start to realize that they can take a couple more minutes. I mean, if the boys can do it, the girls can do it too.
Well, and Saraya made that point. Like when we talked about it last week, that Saraya was like, Britt and I were only supposed to have 2 minutes, and we just kept going. And she was like, that's what me and Nikki Bella used to do. It's what me and Emma used to do. And so they got and so like we talked about last night, they, instead of 10 minutes, they got 13 and a half minutes last night. Were they scheduled for 13 and a half minutes, or does she keep going? I don't know. And so, I'm want to be positive about the direction of the women's division, and it seemed like there were some positive developments last night. And
last night seemed a lot stronger.
I mean, I'm not going to go crazy here, but I am a little bit more hopeful heading into
optimistic.
Yes, more optimistic. And again, like we said, Jade's probably going to get to her 50 wins and her 1 year, which I'm still interested in that. Like I think that's really awesome that they're taking that title and doing that with it. So hopefully we'll see. And now Mercedes is back. So hopefully we'll get some ROH title matches, not just on YouTube, and hopefully they'll be on TV. Hopefully she's defending it it seems like she's going for Athena, and that they are going to defend that at Final Battle, maybe, which would be awesome, especially because Athena's been a lot more aggressive lately. And I think her and Mercedes will just beat the crap out of each other, which I'm here for. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm very glad that Mercedes is back.
I think the next one was the Acclaimed and
and Swerve in Our Glory.
Swerve in Our Glory, where which I don't think anyone in the world thought that they were taking the belts off those two. So
because Tony likes money.
Well, let's hope so, because
he's making a lot of it.
Because if you took the belts off them, I would think you didn't like money.
Yeah, right. I think
and they even gave them, I thought that was very entertaining, they got extended time to rap.
Yes, they did. They got pay-per-view time.
Excellent.
to rap. Yeah, it was. I just would like Max Caster to stop body shaming people, especially Keith Lee. I thought maybe Keith Lee was just going to finally murder him last night because of it, but that didn't happen. But but maybe he'll lay off of him a little bit, since Keith Lee's fed Swerve to them. It was just like, let him. They're like, he's like, here, he's your problem now.
Yep.
I'm leaving. Yeah, so I wasn't sure going into this if we were going to finally get the double, where we're going to get Keith Lee turning heel and joining Swerve and being a heel with him, or if this was going to be the very obvious we're planting seeds that these two have never really gotten along. Because even before we've talked about this, even before they were tag team champions, they didn't get along, and Swerve thought about using a chair on him a couple times. So we knew I just wasn't sure how soon it would.
Swerve.
Yeah, sneaky Swerve. Sneaky Swerve who kidnaps Daddy Ass and tries to break his fingers with pliers.
Tries to stop an old man from having the joy of scissoring his friends. Right. What is wrong with you?
How dare you take that from us, Swerve?
What is wrong with you? What kind of person are you?
A psychopath, apparently.
Apparently.
But yeah, but man, that slap, that Swerve, that Swerve got on Keith Lee, I was like, oh, you were so dumb.
Yeah, right.
I was like, you are dumb as hell.
You're right. You're like, Keith Lee's gonna kill you.
Yeah, right. Yes, exactly. So I'm really interested. I think this will be a fun story. I think Swerve and I liked them as a tag team. I enjoy them together, but
I like them better as singles.
I do too, and I think this is the story that this is going to be the fun story. This will also probably be. I mean, it'll definitely be something that happens at Winter is Coming, but I think this is also going to be a Revolution story that pays off, or at one of the 59 events that they have in January, because it's like Bash at the Beach and like all their other like their themed shows they do.
And I guess that they would even theoretically be doing a Jericho cruise, so they might even have some weird.
I didn't think about that. Yeah,
there is true. Actually. Someone tweeted about it.
Yeah,
I think that there actually is going to be one coming up next year.
Yes, me too. Brad said he's totally here for full on heel Swerve. He's so money. Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
Swerve is money like in general, just because he's Swerve and he's amazing. But yeah, heel Swerve, especially this version.
That's how I'm used
Swerve.
to him. I mean, yeah, honestly, that's how I saw him for the most part in Evolve, because that was what he was doing in Evolve in their storyline at the time a lot. So it was great. And
then I was like, and we've got, I think this version of heel Swerve, like he's like on a mission, and he's
he can level up now.
He has tunnel vision, and he's very, he was already, Daddy Ass cost him the tag team titles. Now it has cost him his tag team partner. And so I think that it's very much. And then they had the dumb storyline where Mark Sterling was trying to get wrestlers to sign the whatever it was to have him boycotted, like that whole thing. So Swerve has a lot of fuel to fuel his heel rage. So but yeah, I think this is and Keith Lee is just so damn, like, I think Keith Lee could pull off being a heel, but he's just so damn likable.
He is.
He's one of the, it's like Johnny Gargano, like when Johnny Gargano is so damn likable, and he's amazing. He's babyface 101. You look up babyface in the dictionary and it's Johnny Gargano's face, and he did the best he could when they made him a heel, but you just couldn't completely buy it. And I feel like that's Keith Lee. He's just so damn likable, and you can't not. I mean, and I think it was yesterday. Swerve. No, was it yesterday or Friday? Swerve tweeted that Keith Lee was listening to a podcast about astrophysicists, and he was like, "We are not the same." I was like, no, Swerve, you are not the same. Not at all. Which is what makes it fun and makes it work. Brad says Keith would have to be a Kingpin type of character using big words to put people down. Yeah, right. Exactly, Brad.
That's exactly right.
That would be fun to see, though. I would not be mad if Keith's character took that route.
Where he was like the indomitable heel who goes around using, what do they call them, like $5 words, or I don't know what the inflation rate on large words is these days. My dad used to call it a 50-cent word, so I'm sure it's gone up.
Probably, yeah. But Keith would be perfect for it.
And so after that match was the main event.
People were chanting new champ immediately.
This match was very interesting because of how many. I never thought that I would hear Jon Moxley be booed at an AEW show, but here we are.
Yeah.
I think that I was like, wow, if he doesn't plan on putting this belt on Max tonight, they might actually riot in Newark.
Yeah, it was almost kind of like the Acclaim
little
Swerve in Our
tenuous.
Glory match a few months ago when Swerve in Our Glory retained, and fans did not like that, and that definitely would have had. I think that would have happened last night too. I mean, I think like we've said, MJF all along, like we knew this is where he was going to win the title.
Well,
like
it
this
kind of had to. I mean, they had to.
Yeah,
It was
they built the story
past
for
time.
it. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I mean, it ended up being exactly the right time, so that's fine.
It works out. Max is especially now, and I think it even works out a little bit more because in the scrum last night, Max, because I missed Max in the scrum because I had actually tuned into the. I didn't know the scrum had started, and I had tuned into the Fight Game Media stuff, and I heard a couple people talking about it, and then I saw a clip, so I went back and watched the clip, and he was talking about how he in the morning he was taking a jet to fly to a movie set. So like I think it's even more of the perfect time because MJF is filming this movie. So now we're getting Hollywood MJF on top of everything else. And I think it's the perfect time, and they had to do it, and they couldn't keep putting it off. And please let Jon Moxley have a damn vacation. Please. It works out perfectly for
Sam
both.
We've been stumping for you the entire time, Jon Moxley. Even if it's a staycation, brother, take one.
Yeah, please.
I know Cincinnati's kind of crappy this time of year. Believe me, our weather is exactly the same. We're right on the same line here.
It's sunny for a little bit. It's okay. You deserve it.
It's football season. His wife is apparently working with the Cincinnati Bengals also, which I think is the greatest thing ever. I love the idea of Renee Paquette being in NFL.
Renee is getting one step closer to making Mox's dream of being a stay-at-home dad come true.
I think people do not understand how many men there are out there who would be more than happy to have a rich wife so that they can stay at home.
He wants to be. I mean, listen, the man is violent and he needs violence in his life.
He'll always be in the
but I could see him being the stay-at-home trophy dad and who occasionally comes out to beat up Nick Gage to bloody up Tom Lawler.
And he's got a little girl, so that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Except for the only thing is he will not face Yano because he fears him. And he'll go to New Japan and wrestle everybody but Yano.
We'll get that match someday, damn it.
Someday. Okay. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was good. I know some people said it was boring or it didn't.
That's because a lot of people don't like wrestling matches. They like
people are weird.
Wrestling matches.
Wrestling fans are weird.
I think that sometimes when it's more technical or when there's there was a story being told throughout this match. It was a very important story. They're not just going to give you the belt at the end of all of this. You put people through a lot of crap.
Right.
And then, of course, you have the big, enormous, here's me when he pulls the diamond ring out going, wow, that's a long time to have that in there.
I mean, that is true.
I was like, do you think he was storing in his cup?
These are important questions.
I really hope somebody I really hope there was some sleight of hand right before where someone handed him that so that he could do that he wasn't wrestling the whole match with that diamond ring.
I hope so.
I mean,
be uncomfortable.
He has the belt, but I don't know what his junk would feel like after that, but whatever. I mean, it's his business. It's not mine.
We talk about the important topics on this show.
We really do. I need to.
We have the important questions.
This is what happens when you have
these are the hard-hitting questions that I have for Tony Khan. I'm gonna ask it. Well, I think I'm on timeout.
Where was he keeping that diamond ring that whole time?
I was gonna say somebody should have asked him last night, but he was not taking questions. He did his little 2.5 minute monologue and then he peaced out.
I'm the champ. I'm tired.
Yeah, he's flying out to his movie set. He doesn't have time. He's like, I'm not going to tell you what happened with Regal. He's like, you think I'm going to tell you Marks?
Yeah, right.
He's said something about jerking off in their grandparents' basement, and Tony's face. Tony, you can see Tony behind him, and Tony's he like gritted his teeth and was looking at his face like, oh my god, please stop. Please stop. I hate you.
Damn it.
He's like, I hate you. Why did I bring you back?
It's like, why did I give you this belt? I knew it.
Yeah. Instant regret.
It's gonna be. Oh, you know what? I'm very interested to see MJF's run, because what's he gonna be like? I mean, there were a lot of babyface reactions to him last night, he's been like teetering back and forth where he's had, but I just don't see that. I don't see him being a babyface. I just don't.
He's definitely, he might just be a tweener. Like, some people are just gonna boo him.
Like a Stone Cold type deal or something.
Some people are just gonna boo him, and then some people are gonna cheer him, and there's like nothing he can do about it, no matter what.
But he's good, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like, I don't care.
Yeah.
If I feel like liking him today and hating him tomorrow, I'm okay with that.
Right, and so this will bring back. Because obviously there was the swerve, no pun intended, last night, which originally when it happened, I thought when he slid it to him, I didn't think swerve. I thought he's testing Max to see if Max will use the brass knuckles, because Max said, I will try not to cheat, because we knew I knew the brass knuckles were going to come into play like immediately.
Yeah, you said it.
I thought it was going to be Stoke. I thought him and Stoke were still in cahoots. I thought Stoke was going to be the one to slide it in. Instead, it was Regal. And so originally I was like, okay, Regal is testing him. I'm going to slide them directly to him. Use it. See what happens. Well, he fucked around and found out. Mox is not the champion now. So now, is it the plan, MJF's plan, William Regal's plan backfired? Or was this the plan all along? It seems like it's the latter. I can see it being the former. It's probably the latter. That's the story. I mean, that seems to be the better story than, oops, I was trying to mess around with MJF. I was testing him.
I was testing you. It did not come off as a testing you. It came off
and then I cost you the title. Sorry, Mox. It was just a lesson. Please forgive me. Like, that's probably not where they're going with it.
I don't think
if anybody could pull it off, it's William Regal, but I don't think that's where they're going. I think it was the swerve, and they've been in this, and maybe he thinks Mox has gotten too soft or some it'll be interesting to see. And I'm also interested. So it'll be interesting to see how.
And there's been dissent in. I mean, there's been a schism in the Bullet Club, in the
and the BCC.
BCC as it is, because of like Wheeler Yuta calling out Ryan Danielson for.
And it was interesting because Daniel Garcia. And they cut back earlier in the night. They cut, and Wheeler Yuta was practicing. He was sparring with Mox and getting him ready, and Regal was overseeing it. And so that was, that was a nice little touch that they did there. And then I don't know if you saw the video after what happened after the show. So I saw it later last night. So BCC came down there to console Moxley. Then they explained to him what happened and told him Regal slid him the brass.
So
and you could see, I think it was Cesaro. You could see him say brass knucks. Mox lost it. He was pissed that happened. Wheeler Yuta jumped up and backed up like, you are not taking your anger out on me.
I'm not.
I've seen this before. You are not going to take your anger out on me and treat me like a young boy right now.
He's like, I'm gonna stay right here. I've watched Suzuki matches. I'm out of here.
Yeah, he was like, he hopped up really quick, like, not today. So that was really, and that was an interesting little thing to see. So Mox had no idea that Regal even slid him the brass knuckles, whether it was on, whether it was a test for Max or it was the swerve, which it probably was. So Mox had no idea. He didn't know brass knuckles came into play. He did not know that Regal was the one who did it. So, which is interesting. Are they gonna have Mox come confront William Regal and then go on vacation, or is he just gonna go on vacation and then then they open Dynamite with Regal? And I hope they open.
Sam is very concerned with your vacation time.
I am. Listen, this man needs a
He's been
vacation.
carrying this company on his back for a
He
year and a
has.
half.
Let the man go on vacation, please.
He's
I
got a child.
am very concerned for his mental well-being. Let this man have a break.
He has to have a vacation. The last time he took a vacation, he was in rehab. That is not vacation.
Exactly. This man was promised 6 weeks, and then look what happened. And I was like, so,
Give
and
him his
then,
paternity leave.
and then I can't wait. What I'm really interested is I'm interested how Excalibur is gonna respond to this.
Yeah.
Man in the Mask.
I
He
know.
was.
Oh,
He's not gonna want to hear it.
Excalibur
Yeah, because
and
Brad
William
brought it
Regal
up
basically
earlier.
just broke up. You just broke.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about
Brad-
the farther-reaching ramifications.
Yes, there are very far-reaching ramifications. Let me see if I can find this comment from
Makes
that
me sad.
Brad made earlier. Whoops, I think I scrolled past it. Let me go back down here. Yeah, so Brad said, but the worst part of Regal turning is no more of him hitting on Excalibur on commentary.
That is 100% true. I'm glad that you
is.
remembered to pop that back up because
Yeah.
I completely agree with this. You're totally right.
He's Man in the Mask
I
is not
mean,
going to want to hear this. He's not.
I actually had I think the gentleman on the boom, I believe Kevin may have even predicted something in the vein of this happening in his mind.
Yeah,
he felt like
apparently.
maybe
I had a friend who predicted it as well.
And there were a couple of people I remember. I think it was one of them, but and forgive me if I was incorrect, but the whole and I was like, it was in the back of my mind. And then I saw Regal come out and I was like, oh no, they're really gonna do it.
And they cut really quick too, and Regal, he slid it in, and then they show Regal, and he's standing at the top of the ramp, he got the hell out of Dodge.
He's like, I don't care what is wrong with me, I can run.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'm really interested. So this circles back to what we were talking about back in the 0 hour with Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks. Is William Regal part of the firm? Are William and MJF working on their own and doing their own thing? So is the story with the firm, is all of that real? Because, I have always been, I'm not buying any of this. This man's not turning face. He's working with Stokely. They have a history, especially because they got involved in the Gage Mox match at in GCW. That's how Mox lost the title, was the firm got involved.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it'll be very interesting to see if William Regal is also part of the firm, if he is actually the leader of the firm and Stoke is the mouthpiece, or if Max and William Regal are doing stuff on their own. So then that brings back Ethan Page. Ethan Page is in the firm. And if he wins Wednesday night, he will face MJF at Winter is Coming. So is he facing somebody he's in, they're still working together, or have the firm broken up and Ethan's going to be pissed about MJF turning on them? And how is that going to play out? So I do think that's another reason even another reason that I think Ethan Page will beat Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Is I think the story is, because the story has, they've been pushing Ethan Page as part of the firm. They've been doing this. They pushed him more. And so now the natural story, I think, is him versus MJF, whether it's as another member of the firm or as you screwed us in the firm and now I'm pissed. I'm gonna, so I think that adds another layer to it. And I think that's the correct story, again, because I don't think Ricky Starks should lose to MJF. So I don't think Ricky Starks, I don't think that is the match that happens right now.
When I looked at it at first, I was like, what is this? And then I was like, oh, Ethan Page has to win this.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how I felt too.
It seemed once I really put it all together, especially once MJF won, it was like, how does that not? That seems like the most natural next move that's been going on. So, excuse me, but it should definitely. There's so much because so many teams are broken up now. There's there's a big essentially just now reset everything.
Yeah, so it seems like they're resetting for the new year.
Yep.
it sounds
Getting
like, okay,
ready to
we're
kind of like lead into Revolution, which I guess is their year. Like,
right,
you
and
know,
they're
that's
going into year 4 now, and yeah, that's and because well, the records records reset at the at the beginning of the new year.
yeah.
The singles records reset, the tag records, all those records reset. So it almost seems like they're resetting other stuff like this. It seems like that's yeah, I think that's the biggest. That seems to kind of be the biggest story coming out of last night is other than Regal turning or whatever. Is that there's dissension among multiple groups. And it seems like, and now we have like, so then we have the Elite didn't, and Elite didn't win their titles back. So now we have a best of 7 series coming up with them. And now we have, Sammy seems to be turning on Jericho. Or that they're having the issues. Daniel Garcia has even had the issues, and we thought Daniel Garcia was going to leave and go join Danielson, and then that didn't happen. And then we have, so we have all of these things, and now we have the stuff with the Firm and MJF. We've got the Blackpool Combat Club stuff. So it just seems like there's kind of dissension everywhere, and that they are and then we have, going back to Jack Perry. Winning and being apart from Luchasaurus, and they're kind of cutting the training wheels off of him. They've separated Swerve and Our Glory now, and so it just seems like it seems
the
like
Wardlow,
Wardlow
thing. They literally broke up like every team that we had.
Yeah, and then also with Wardlow losing that title, I mean, I'm sure he'll get a rematch, but it also seems to now Wardlow is free to pursue MJF.
Yeah.
And so it seems like, and so I do hope it
seems like an obvious one.
Yeah, so we'll get
maybe not right out of the gate, but that definitely has to come.
Right. They've got to tell that story. I think they do have to go back and revisit the story of Jack Perry and the Jungle Boy and MJF stuff. Like, I think that's another story for him. So they've got some built-in feuds for MJF already. It'll be interesting to see like what his first, because those are two really big feuds. Those could potentially be two really big feuds for MJF. So I don't know if right out of the gate they'll have him. Like, I guess they've got Ethan Page, and maybe if he did, maybe if he did turn on the Firm, then maybe the first story is him and Ethan Page. Maybe they go back and forth a little bit, and then we get to Wardlow, or maybe we get to Jungle Boy and MJF. So it sounds like they've got so they could have MJF be champion for a while.
Yeah,
like they've got the stories to tell with him. I think
they kind of have to.
Yeah.
I think they've got to give him a run with it. They have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got to have the title.
He's run the first like one that's one of theirs that's got the thing now.
Right. And
well, no, that's not true, I guess, is because Hangman.
That's what I was just about to say. Hangman, at some point, like, where will he factor in when he, like, I'm curious to see, because we talked about this before the concussion, like, where did Hangman fit into all of this? Because obviously Hangman was not going to beat Moxley, and the story was obviously Moxley and MJF. It was not going to be Hangman and MJF. So then where does Hangman go? Like, what do they do with him now? And so it'll be interesting. And I don't know how soon he'll be back. He did last night during the scrum, somebody did ask him about Adam Cole. He said Adam Cole is doing well. Could not give a timeline on him either, or could not or would not give. He's like, I don't have a timeline on the two Adams. He was like, I just know that when they come back, fans will be happy to see them. And then that's really, and he just left it at that. So, I don't know if Adam Cole figures into any of this stuff when he gets back. Kyle O'Reilly, we don't know when he'll be back. So there are still those, those question marks heading into the new year. Like, how are they going to handle this type of stuff? And it seems like year 4 may be the year that they kind of focus more on the pillars. Not that they are going to move away from their veterans by any means, but I think it seems like they're going to put more of a focus on
really building.
And then you kind of have it in the women's division. You've got Jamie now, who, Britt has been your face for 3 years. Now it's Jamie and Tony, maybe even, and maybe when Ruby Soho, I don't know when she's supposed to be back. And, there's Penelope and Anna Jay and things like that. And we've got
there's Willow Nightingale out there who can
there's Willow,
make her way in.
Right. And there's Athena. Hopefully there's Trisha Dora.
Hopefully.
So it's really interesting to see where they can go. And I think Winter is Coming will be a really good show, because I think they've got the holiday show too, but I think Winter is Coming may kind of point us in the direction of how January is going to unfold, especially with the big show on January 4th, not in the Tokyo Dome, but in Washington.
Yeah.
There was I don't know if we should mention this here. I don't know if we've heard the same. She and I both heard a rumor. We have not watched X Over yet.
Well, I would say this is that one of my friends told me this morning.
Okay, so you know what? Yeah, you know
And
how I found
like,
out was,
but it's so for me, what I hadn't put together was where they had announced it, and then I forgot that the historic crossover show was on Saturday, and that I was like,
yeah,
oh
it was this
yeah,
morning. Which also is interesting because now I guess we should put up a spoiler alert.
hang on,
We'll
let
put
me
up
get
the
it.
spoiler banner
Yeah,
real quick. Or
this
you might
is
just
an
want to,
enormous spoiler.
Yeah, so there's a
okay?
really big spoiler, and it now explains the gap we saw in the schedule for the best of 7 match.
Yes.
Because people quickly pointed out that there was no match for January the 4th. And that set off question because originally, because I thought I was like, okay, either somebody's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom or they're timing it so the last show was in California. And now we know why January 4th was left open. It is because Kenny Omega will be at Wrestle Kingdom.
He will be wrestling Mr. Will Ospreay.
That promo he cut was fantastic. I love that he cut it in Japanese.
I love when he does that.
I do too. And I love that he was like, you were replacing me and look what happened. Fans can't cheer. People, of course, are going to blame it on the pandemic, but we all know it's because you're no Kenny Omega.
Basically. He's been needling him for a long time. This isn't going
which
on.
is fact. So, which now I'm kind of thinking, because now this kind of gives my theory a little bit more fuel, that Danielson and Shibata will happen in Washington at the Dynamite show because Kenny will be at will be at Wrestle Kingdom. So I was like, well, now it's even more of a reason to do.
Well,
Danielson.
those fans will go freaking.
I was like,
insane.
because I was like, Danielson's got to have something big for that show. Why not give them Shibata since Kenny Omega is going to be in the Tokyo Dome?
Right.
That's how I would book it.
And I really, 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 really hope that. I mean, I don't know what the the deals are, but I really hope that New Japan is able to give fans at least, whether they make that match free or give people the opportunity to watch Wrestle Kingdom, which, guys, Wrestle Kingdom is amazing. It's back to one night.
Yeah.
And it's going to be
New Year Dash the next day.
Yep. Normal. It's going to be, it's going to feel more normal again. And I'm thinking that they're going to let people cheer this time, since they've opened up the borders, and you can finally travel there from abroad now. So,
this feels like one of the bigger Wrestle Kingdoms in a while.
Oh my God. I'm so excited for this Wrestle Kingdom, because I feel like we haven't, not that they haven't been good.
Yeah. Because there are some incredible matches that have happened the last couple of years. Like I have them on I have on my match of the year contender list. Like, so they've had the great matches. It's just this one feels more like it used to, like more in
the way it should be.
I don't know if
not having the fans does matter.
Yeah, I was I don't know if it feels necessarily more important, because they're always important, but it feels like there's an extra energy around it this time that's been missing. And I think it does help that. I mean, I think it was already there, but now that you have Kenny Omega going home, and I saw Will Ospreay say something about, he said, "You're going to save this company. Why don't you save your own?" Listen, Kenny Omega can save 2 companies simultaneously.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So Brad says that the last few big shows have felt like it feels like New Japan is back. I agree. And I need to catch back up on. I actually need to catch back up on Strong too, because Strong has been doing some, like I saw Tom Lawler had a match last night. They've been doing some big things. They have a big taping today, and it's got Lindsay and Mascara Dorado, who Mascara Dorado, if you're not familiar, used to be Grand Metalik, and him and Lindsay used to tag as Lucha House Party in not tag, they were a trios in WWE, but this is their first time I believe it's the first time they've reunited since they were released from WWE. So that match is going to be awesome. Kratos is wrestling Fred Rosser for the title today. Bad Dude Tito is wrestling Kenta.
I'm here for all of that.
Yeah, they've got some really cool stuff set up, and I was like, I really got to get back into Strong. And so, yeah, it seems like with strong New Japan, now New Japan's got the relationship with Stardom. Like, it seems like really big things are happening for them, and it's nice to see New Japan back and be back on that level that they were at before. And so I'm really excited. It's just a really good time to be a wrestling fan.
It sure is. And things are finally, I mean, at least, I don't know, normal is the wrong word because it's not going to be the same ever again.
Right,
I
right.
think that's ridiculous, but I think things are settling into the new routine and culture that we will be experiencing in a post-COVID world where pro wrestling is. And I mean, all the credit in the world to all of the wrestlers who have continued to keep us.
Yes.
I mean,
100%.
You can't hear us cheering for you through the internet, like, but we were there the whole time, and we were very, I mean, for me anyway, and I know a lot of people mention this too, but throughout the entire pandemic, like, if it hadn't been for pro wrestling, I don't know. It's one of the things that definitely kept me moving forward and paying attention.
Too, like, because you can connect through for all the flaws that Twitter has. It was easy to keep connected with people during the pandemic. And then, like, I had, my friends, we have our group chat. I know that you have yours too. Like, wrestling was this thing that kept us occupied and kept us for, something to think about, something to focus on, and something to look forward to. And so it's nice to it's nice that these wrestlers can hear us cheering now and know that we never left. We're still here, and some people did leave and now they're coming back. And so it's whether you stayed or you left or not, it's good to be back and supporting these people.
Yep. And gosh, I don't think I have anything to add to that. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that, and I think it's gonna be fun.
I am too.
I'm really excited for us looking into this year.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, as far as Full Gear goes, I think it was an awesome show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I hope that they did the buys. I hope that people.
Yeah, I know that they were getting really close to the $1 million gate. I don't know if they crossed it.
I think Dave tweeted this morning that they actually made it. So.
Oh, good. Okay, and so this was what is that? The 4th straight pay-per-view that they got that gate. I think something like that.
I believe that's what I saw on my timeline this morning.
Yeah,
I didn't want to get too
even
deep,
when I know it's easy to focus. Like, I try not to pay attention to the ratings because I really don't care because it's not going to keep me from watching. But it is nice to see that. Okay, even with the not so great build up, they still delivered a show. People still paid to see it.
Yep.
They seem to be in a healthy place. Their relationship with Warner Brothers seems to be in a really good place as well.
They're like the only thing making money on that ledger right now. So.
Maybe that's why they're getting invested. Maybe that's why Warner Brothers is like.
It's just reality. I mean, and when you look at the numbers, they are one of the only assets that Warner Brothers Media has that's actually making money. So. Yeah. I mean,
well, good for AEW.
Yes. Thank you, wrestling.
That means good stuff for
us.
Good
for us.
I'm gonna say that's good things for us. Hopefully that means the ROH situation gets figured out so that they can be on their own thing and they can figure that out and give some more TV time back to the AEW roster while putting really good wrestlers on ROH, because ROH has some really talented people and it's nice. People need places to work. Competition is good, even though AEW owns them. The more competition, the more places there are for wrestlers to work, because there's only so many places that they can be that's on TV, and or in this situation it may be an HBO Max type of thing, but then that'll be a thing that's, that could be the future of where wrestling is headed, is going to be on a giant streaming service like that. So like, I think so there's exciting things I think on the horizon, and I hope they can get it figured out for everybody soon.
Agreed. And live sports is like where it's at. So
yeah.
Thank God. And thank God that Tony puts his down as a sport.
Yes.
So
yeah.
All right.
So thank you for I think that was I think that's everything.
That's good. I think that we
we went a little long.
That's all right. I think
it's a post thing. Oh, I will mention real quick. We are thinking about going live more often on Sundays at 1:00. We do have holiday things coming up, so that may kind of derail some of that. So we may be filming earlier and we may have some shows that won't be live, but we are playing with the idea of going live more often on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. It will probably be If we do it, we probably will just stick with the same day and time. We know we're competing against the NFL.
And that's okay, because you'll need something that first week after football anyway, and we'll be here the whole time.
In between Super Bowl and spring training,
Yeah,
you'll need that. So we'll be here to fill that void for you. And so that is something that we're playing with, and we would definitely love your feedback on that.
And then you would essentially, if you didn't want to watch live and see all the fun stuff that we do, especially when it gets towards the holidays and I start dressing with my, because I have lots of, Sam's going to love me during the holidays.
I can't wait.
Of funny stuff.
I'm excited.
So it will be worth the visuals. Anytime there's a celebration around whatever time of year it is, if it's something that I can get exciting and put funny hats and stuff on, I'm here for it. Good. And I know that people enjoy that sort of thing. So I do encourage people to watch the YouTube show. Yes, but we do. Essentially what we would do is you would join us live on Sundays. And then if you, or you could watch this just because it goes right up after that. Yeah. Or on Monday, you can get the audio.
Yeah. So we're not gonna. Yeah, even if we do the live, we're live every week.
We're working on that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't stop the audio.
That's a soft announcement.
Yes, it is a soft announcement. It's something we're playing around with, but and like I said, the holidays will kind of throw some things off because we're gonna have to change the schedule a little bit. But after that, after the first of the year, so not only will AEW be resetting, Powerbombshells might be trying some new stuff out heading into the new year and after the new year. But so thank you for hanging out with us today. If you're catching us on the replay, we appreciate that. If you're catching the audio version, we appreciate that too. Please make sure that you subscribe, regardless if you're an audio or a visual watcher. Please come subscribe to the Fight Game Media YouTube. We're closing in on, we're trying to get to the 2,500 follower mark, and it helps us with the algorithm. And again, like we've talked about before, there's a lot of really good stuff on Patreon. And if you're not sure if you will like it, come to the YouTube channel. All of the shows have clips that go up. You can watch and listen and see if that's what you're into. And then you can, if you decide, you can subscribe for $5 a month. There's content for, it's not just AEW, there's New Japan, there's Joshi, there's MMA, there's WWE, there's Impact. We cover it all.
We do cover it all. There's boxing.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff over on the Fight Game Media.
Even content like combat movie related content.
And now we may also be doing a movie review.
Possibly. I heard that. It's so cute. We are talking about the Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey on the lawnmower, right? That's because I went on the Impact podcast the other day, and I had not watched Impact Live because I typically don't watch Impact Live anyway because I watch Grey's Anatomy and it's on winter finale. So I was doing some other things and I was going to get to it. And so Mike was like, is the guy from Can't Buy Me Love still on there? And I had to break it to him that no, they killed him off several seasons ago. Oh no.
And then I told him, I was like, I have never seen Can't Buy Me Love, so I have been challenged to watch it because apparently it's on Amazon Prime, and then I have to tell them my thoughts. And now it's turned into people may be rewatching the movie and we may just have a show about it.
I've seen the movie so many times.
I have, yeah. So
which is hilarious. So when I was watching everyone have this conversation, I was chuckling because I was like, I can't wait for her to watch it. It's not anything like this is not like Shakespeare or anything. You know what I mean? But it is definitely one of those classic 80s rom-com type deals that it has a charm about it.
Oh, I'm sure. And I love John Hughes.
It makes it rewatchable because it's kind of
it's stuck in the time. It's stuck in the 80s. It didn't age well.
Now, that's the thing. That's one thing I would have to say is I would have to rewatch it because I have not seen it in forever. I've watched it a bazillion times, but I've not watched it recently. So to know whether or not it held up for what it was would be the reason I would actually do it. I find it hilarious that.
So even
I find it hilarious that Mike Gilbert and JD are that big of fans of that Can't Buy Me Love that they need you to like do
he said
movie review on it.
JD basically he said it was like the worst of capitalism and it's terrible, but he loves it, and so I'm looking forward to watching. I'm hopefully gonna get into. I'm hopefully gonna be able to get to it this week. I'm gonna I still have to watch X Over. I still haven't watched, and I meant to
Me
watch
too.
that. Another thing, Mike is he's gonna be mad at me because I have not had a chance to watch Impact, so I've not had a chance to watch the Masha Slamovich promo that he and JD were raving about, which I do want. I actually planned to watch it. I was like, oh, I'll just watch it this morning and go find it on Twitter, and then I think that's when I got. Oh, because what I was gonna say is I got spoiled on the Kenny Omega match because I was being a good friend and went to promote I went to go retweet the Boom Goes Dynamite from last night. I had tweeted it last night, but I was going to tweet it again this morning, and it popped up under Powerbombshells. New Japan popped up and told me, and I was like, look, I was trying to be a good friend and now I got spoiled. So
the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
It is. It really is. So yeah. So I still have to watch Takeover.
Yeah,
I gotta watch
the devil.
Gotta watch that. Or not Takeover, but I gotta watch the crossover show. Gotta watch Impact. Even though I know I heard what happened at the pay-per-view, the Impact pay-per-view on Friday, and the match that's coming on their big match that's coming in January as well. They have Bully Ray versus Josh Alexander, which I don't know who. I think Mike wants to see that match, but I don't. I don't want to see anything with Bully Ray. I was like, I am not here for it. But yeah, because Mike said, I think Mike said that he feels terrible or something because he enjoys what they're doing now with Bully Ray, and he was like,
he just doesn't want to.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't like it, but I do.
Yeah,
that's always a tough place to be.
Yeah, so Bully Ray, yeah, he went and got his heat and did his Dastardly Hill things, and I was like, of course he did. It does not make me want to see it anymore. I mean, I just hope Josh Alexander beats his ass, but that's all you can hope for. But yeah, so at some point this week, I will hopefully be watching. So regardless of whether we talk about, if we end up doing a show talking about Can't Buy Me Love, I will probably tweet about it as long as Twitter exists.
I think at this point, this has become a Fight Game Media thing, so I think you'll hear about it.
Probably
if you subscribe to the YouTube and you check out some of the videos, you might hear all of us talking about whether or not Sam has watched Can't Buy Me Love yet.
Yes. And that's something to look forward to. And if that doesn't convince you to spend $5, I don't know what will. All right. So I think that's enough from us. Thank you for hanging out with us for so long. Thanks for those of you who were commenting or could comment, because apparently Nikki could not. But we will be back next week. I don't think, I assume because it's a holiday weekend, I don't know that we will be live next. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. We'll figure that out.
Know. Either
just
way,
follow us on Twitter.
Either way, you'll see us. That's right. Twitter and Instagram we're at Powerbombshells on virtually every social media. So if you lose us on one, go look for us.
Yeah, and next week is a big one. Next week is episode 40.
We're turning 42.
We are.
Yeah. Weird. We were only 1 week off. We would have been turning 40.
That's so crazy how that happened.
All right. We sucked. We should have looked at the calendar. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No. Why didn't we plan this better? Why didn't we plan this better?
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's been great. We really appreciate all of you very much.
Yes, we do. Have a good week.
Have a good week.
Bye.